Why, hello there. Welcome in, everybody who's listening to this. People on the stream, bot watchers, everyone, welcome to a very special stream scheduled for today. Since this is the long awaited by me D&D character creation stream in which we remake my first D&D character, the boy, my PNG, into something hopefully a little bit better than he was before, since the first time I played D&D I had no idea how to build a character properly. Nowadays I still kinda don't, but like I only have like a general idea of what works the best in a way. Yeah, sorry. So hopefully the character we'll make today is a little bit more controlled, more... I don't want to say meta, I don't really play the meta in D&D. Play characters that are interesting and like that I like. But I want to make him better than he was originally, since I kind of lost the original character sheet online because of like circumstances. But this is a character that I played a while ago, back in 2019. Crazy to think about, but that was 4 years ago. This character is soon to be 4 years old. But yeah, test, help. Is the microphone okay? I hope the microphone is okay. Let me just drop the alert on access his channels. If access started streaming not too long ago. He's streaming the demo of Resident Evil 4 Remake. That's interesting. Okay. I'm gonna just put on my headphones real quick. Okay, enough futuristic shit. We're here to do fantasy. We're here to do D&D. So, I found this really cool playlist of royalty-free music by Alexander Nakarada on YouTube. Go check it out. And hopefully it won't get too insane and hype, because everything we're going to do today is to make a low level, like level 5 to level 10 character. Well, that's mid-level, but you know how I mean. And hopefully it'll be pretty exciting. Let's see, let's turn on the music. That's fantasy enough, right? Sounds like someone you would hear in something like Divinity, which is very fitting. I love the Divinity original sin. Let's see. Since Potionomics is technically running on the background, since it will not run properly if I started midstream in order to change the game. The stream might lag just a little bit, so it will have to use the Vtuber of every day in order to play. What the heck is happening? And a little bit of a technical trouble here, as usual. The usual amount. Where's the music? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think playing music on YouTube is kind of a mistake. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's gonna take a while, don't worry. Is it on my desktop? Oh, it's... That's Potionomics. Yep, we don't want that. Oh dear. Well, anyways, let's jump right into Roll20. So important thing I need to actually mention here. This stream is possible thanks to my friend Water, my friend NDM, who thankfully it landed me a full set of his D&D books that he bought on Roll20 for our campaign, and shared. Oh, what? There I am. But why am I tiny though? Hello, I am Tiny Nero. Give me 1 second. As I am the smallest boy. There you go. Okay, test. There you go. Now it works. So, Water actually led me a full like campaign on Roll20 in which he shared all his books with me. So, I have access to most of the content in D&D released today on the compendium here. So we'll be able to go through the basic character making process as well as all the different subclasses for monk in different expansions, such as Tasha's and like Bowl's Guide and all that, which is very, very exciting since the normal subclasses for monk are fine, but the most interesting ones are on the expansions. So let's make a new character. Let's see if I remember how to do this. It's been a whole while. If I remember how to make a new character, my library. Oh, this is all my D&D stuff that I've used over the years. Played a Green Tiefling once. I played a female Geese Howard. This is from our Tokyo Heroes campaign that we played. He actually drew this. We actually played a Super Sentai campaign in which we were like mythological creatures and animals and whatnot. And my character was a kitsune. And he drew a Super Sentai suit based on a kitsune. Very, very nice stuff. I played as Raziel once, Ume, Swinehart, and a bunch of stuff. I played as a kobold. This is the master. A horse. I played as a horse once. I didn't play as a horse, obviously, but I did do a lot of really good stuff. Okay, we have a character here made by my friend Water, and the music is gone again. What the heck is happening? 1 hour of fantasy ambience music. Okay, that's good. The music will be on and off today since OBS does not like capturing YouTube while Potionomics is running, while Roll20 is running, while the stream is running. So the scuff will be major here. So bear with me for 1 second. If push comes to shove, I'll just have to put my own music, but it won't be fantasy. So we'll see. Unless I put something like, I don't know, Zelda or Chrono Trigger, something like that. Yeah, I feel like that's the right move because this music is gonna go on and off all the freaking time. So let's put some classic D&D in Eye of the Beholder. On this channel we love classic video game music, so because we're nerds. Let's go for the PC98 version. I have PC98, okay, whatever, PC98 version of Eye of the Beholder video game, which I might play on stream one day, who knows, but maybe like the Super Nintendo version. Yeah, no, no, okay, Super Nintendo, what you got? It was made by Capcom, okay. This is way too dangerous. Okay, let's just do some Chrono Trigger. Like, let's play it safe. Chrono Trigger's got a pretty chill soundtrack. There's a remix, arrangements, but no Chrono Trigger. Yeah, I don't want to steal some music here, so how about Xenogears? Yeah, that sounds nice. That sounds D&D like. If push comes to shove, again, I can skip one song or two to see the most chill one. But this sounds like D&D enough, even though it's a game about giant robots and my dog going crazy in the background. So, oh boy. So, Roll20 has this system called Charactermancer in which the character creation process of making a D&D character 4 or 5e and a lot of other systems is straight-lined and simplified for new players. This is how I learned to play D&D. My dog is spotted a crazy like beholder outside or something. Is the music too loud? I think the music's too loud. My goodness. Alright. So, it's very hard for me to make a character in D&D that's not being used in Charactermancer because I got used to it after using it for 4 years. To the point where making a character on sheet and paper is kind of alien to me. It's a relic, something like that. An ancient way of playing D&D. The original one, if you know what I mean. So we're going to be using Charactermancer here. I want to make a stream in which I actually make a character using pen and paper, but for that I will have to get a camera for like use my hands and like print it out and like fill it by hand. There's no way I can do that right now. I'm limited by the current hardware that I have, but one day I really want to do it, just to get like the whole feeling of making a new character on physical. For that I need some stuff that I currently don't have, such as the camera, like I said, and character sheets and whatnot, and maybe the books. But like I said, the books are kind of expensive. So we're going to use the Charactermancer. Alright. Charactermancer, Dungeons & Dragons. Welcome to the Charactermancer. The Charactermancer is a step-by-step process that makes building a character simple and streamlined. Changes are saved as you progress, but the character sheet is only updated once the Charactermancer has been completed. The Charactermancer currently supports a vast collection of compendium content from a variety of publishers. Before you proceed, check with your DM to ensure they've set the proper compendium sharing settings on your game settings. Be sure to check the Roll20 Marketplace or the D&D 5e Compendium to see all the products that have Compendium expansions. Get started by clicking Next. What this means is that your D&D DM actually needs to enable different books inside of Roll20 for you to use them in the Charactermancer. Now, that's good and bad at the same time. It means that the DM can actually choose and pick whatever content he can use on his campaign and allow it for you to make, which is very useful for DMs. It's bad because there's no way of actually getting your physical books into Roll20, or as far as I know, get your books on, I don't know, the... Oh my goodness, my dog. Get your books from a digital copy. My dog is going crazy, sorry, it's getting my attention, somewhat fierce. The digital books that you buy from the Wizard's website, for example, you cannot introduce them into Roll20 for you to use them at the Charactermancer. You need to buy them in the Roll20 marketplace for full price, for like $60 each. As far as I know, they haven't implemented a system in order to use your own books that you already have in Roll20 so far, which sucks. And the main reason I'm doing this for free is that my friend Water actually bought the books twice, by buying them on a physical copy and then buying like most of them on roll 20, which is insane. I would not make that purchase, and I really appreciate that he did. So thank you, Water, for making this possible. But anyways, first we're gonna start choosing a race. If you cannot already tell, my boy is a Tiefling. You have a variety of races to choose from here. You'll get more or less races depending on the content enabled in your campaign. Okay, the drop-down menu is not showing up on stream, but you can tell I'm choosing a race. Depending on the content that you have enabled here on your compendium in Roll20, you get more or less races. More or less, not less. So over here we have a whole bunch where we are only interested in the Tiefling. Where's the Tieflings? Because you cannot go wrong with a Tiefling in DnD. See how the page actually updates automatically based on whatever you choose, and the character sheet saves up all the choices that you make automatically as well. It's taking a while because I'm streaming, but normally it doesn't take that long. This is like an introduction to Charactermancer more than anything. Okay, my boy's alignment originally was neutral good. Alignment isn't as important as it used to be back in 3.5, I believe. Like I said, I'm a 5e like baby boy, but from what I heard from like my friends who played D&D before I was born, apparently alignment was more important, and you would actually get rewarded for playing into your alignment. But now this is more for flavor. So it depends on whether or not they follow the rules and whether they are good or lawful or chaotic. That's usually based on like the rules of the world, the laws of whatever organization you are tied to. My boy is part of a monastery and advised to the rules of those the rules. I combined rules with laws there for a second. The rules of the monastery regarding his pilgrimage and all of the restrictions he has until he becomes like a proper disciple. So you could say he is lawful. However, he hasn't stayed as part of that monastery for his whole life, and he only adopted the monastery's rules and limitations later into his life when he was about 16. Since he actually trained under a different master before he joined the monastery. So I wouldn't say he's lawful. He is good. He's a good boy. But lawful, not so much. He's kind of chaotic. In the best way possible. So I'm going to choose chaotic good here. You get a basic understanding on like the size of your race, the speed that you have currently, because we're monks. Monks get crazy fast later on. I should probably read the basic definition of what a tiefling is. As always, with most things in D&D, this is not a hard like definition of what a tiefling should be. This is a definition in regards of lore. However, this can be changed by your DM. As always, everything in D&D is pretty much a guideline. Alright. To be greeted with stares and whispers, to suffer violence and insult on the street, to see mistrust and fear in every eye. This is the law of the Tiefling. And to twist the knife, Tieflings know that this is because of a pact struck generations ago, infused the essence of Asmodeus, overlord of the Nine Hells, into their bloodline. Their appearance and their nature are not their fault, but the result of an ancient sin, for which they and their children and their children's children will always be held accountable. Tieflings are derived from human bloodlines, and in the broadest possible sense they still look human. However, their infernal heritage has left a clear imprint on their appearance. As you can see, I have horns and like a tail. I don't really have a tail right now, but you know what I mean. Tieflings have large horns that take any variety of shapes. Some have curling horns like a ram, others have straight and tall horns like a gazelle's, and some spiral upward like an antelope's horns. They have thick tails, 4 to 5 feet long, which lash or coil around their legs when they are upset or nervous. Their canine teeth are sharply pointed, and their eyes have solid colors: black, red, white, silver, or gold. Gold. With no visible sclera or pupil. Their skin tones cover the full range of hue and coloration, but also include various shades of red. Their hair cascading down from behind their horns is usually dark, from black or brown to dark red, blue, or purple. That's something that my character differs on. My character originally had white hair, but now it's blonde. But like I said, my original character was very old, and he's gone through a few revisions in both lore, gameplay, and appearance, as well as art, multiple times by different artists. I've been commissioned a couple of times, as well as wonderful people that had done it for free just because they could. The most important features on a tiefling are the horns, the tail, and the eyes. Their skin color can be human, yes, but it can also range through all the visual spectrum of red, which means that you can basically play a dark red tiefling, you can play a pink tiefling, a lot of stuff. As always, friendly reminder, this is just the lore behind tieflings that's explained in the player's handbook. As always, it's just a guideline. You can play a green tiefling, you can play a blue tiefling, a purple tiefling, if the DM allows it. You can always consult your DM for that. And as you can see, my boy here doesn't necessarily have a tail right now, which is also a small variant. Playing D&D is all about creativity, so if you want to play a character concept that doesn't necessarily adhere to the rules or normal lore of 5e, you can, as long as the DM allows it. So don't worry about it and go nuts. Self-reliant and suspicious, tieflings subsist in a small minorities, found mostly in human cities and towns, often in the roughest quarters of those places. They grow up to be swindlers, thieves, crime lords. Sometimes they live among other minority populations in enclaves where they are treated with more respect. Like in a homeland, tieflings know that they have to make their own way in the world, and that they have to be strong to survive. They are not quick to trust anyone who claims to be a friend, but when a tiefling's companions demonstrate that they trust to him or her, the tiefling learns to extend the same trust to them. And once a tiefling gives someone loyalty, the tiefling is a firm friend or ally for life. This is always the aspect of tieflings that I like to roleplay the most. The Harvey. Okay, the music is going crazy now. Hold on a second. Yeah, that sounds alright. Xenogears fits really well with D&D. I did not expect it, honestly. It's a game about giant mechs doing martial arts, but the soundtrack is so beautiful. Should play it on stream once, who knows. Mutual mistrust. People tend to be suspicious of tieflings, assuming that their infernal heritage has left its mark on their personality and morality, not just their appearance. Shopkeepers keep a close eye on their goods when tieflings enter the stores. The town watch might follow a tiefling around for a while, and demagogues... Is that how you pronounce that? Demagogues blame tieflings for strange happenings. The reality, though, is that a tiefling's bloodline doesn't affect his or her personality to any degree. Years of dealing with mistrust does not leave its mark on most tieflings, and they respond to it in different ways. Some choose to live up to a wicked stereotype, but others are virtuous, Most are simply very aware of how people respond to them. After dealing with this mistrust, throughout use, a tiefling often develops the ability to overcome prejudice through charm or intimidation. So, my favorite tiefling that I've seen on D&D in my campaign is actually Water tiefling, Captain Water. That he actually played on our previous campaign. The same guy that actually, for context, wanted me to play Legend of Dragoon. And then the same guy that actually gave me the permission to use his books in order to make this stream. Played a tiefling that was so unbelievably charming and interesting that made me love tieflings more than I already have. And he's kind of an inspiration when it comes to playing D&D in general. Don't let him know that, but yeah. But anyways, so whenever people see a tiefling on the street, they have certain prejudices that are not necessarily rooted in reality, but rooted in the misconception that Asmodeus might be controlling them or something like that. So usually when tieflings deal with that kind of stuff when they're very young, they learn to overcome that by quick comebacks, intimidating them by saying, "Oh, I'm gonna freaking destroy you," or raising them up, as they say, as the younglings say these days. I don't know. Hold on. Grab a glass of water. Alright. I did not, like, it wasn't the plan to actually read all this, like, lore today, but it's so much fun that I just want to do it anyways. So, we're going to do that, but only to the lore that pertains. Relates to my character right here. He's a tiefling, he's a monk. We're in some tiefling and lore, and monk lore. So, tiefling names. Tiefling names fall into 3 broad categories. Tieflings born into another creature typically have names reflecting of that culture. Some have names derived on their infernal from the infernal language. There we go. Pass down. Hey, you know, I'm gonna look for. Thank you for being here, June. Thank you for the lurk, man. Hope you enjoy. I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day or night. I don't know what time it is over there. Take care of yourself. June, by the way, June, for those who don't know, actually plays another tiefling. You can check out some of the art and lore of his own tiefling monk on his Twitter. Pretty cool. Let's see. Passed down through generations that reflect their fiendish heritage. And some younger tieflings, striving to find a place in the world, adopt a name that signifies a virtue or other concept, and they try to embody that concept. For some, their chosen name is a noble quest. For others, it's a grim destiny. Oh, you have infernal names. Akmenos, Abnon, Deusis, Melek, Mordai, Mortos, Pelios. A lot of very demonic stuff. Well, not demonic, but devilish. Infernal names. As well as the females. As always, you can name your character something that is related to the lore, but you can also name them something like a number, you know? Virtue names are the most interesting ones because you can make a whole character without naming them and then name them based on what they strive to be, or one of their bonds, or what a dream that they have. It's evening here. Thank you for the shadow. You're welcome, Nexus. June. Sorry, my brain is mixed up. You're welcome. So, if I make a character that's, let's say, a gladiator, and they want to become something more, like they want to get out of the arena, go out there, become an adventurer, you can name them Hero, for example. Or that's not really a virtual name. A virtual name for a hero would be something like heroism, for example. Or quest in this case, for example, the one that shows up right here. Open, nowhere, sorrow, temerity, torment, weary. You can go crazy with all your character and actually name your character something based on future events or destinies that they have as a way of foreshadowing for the rest of the players. The DM will probably know what that means, but the players won't. So if you name your character Omen, for example, or Destruction, or something like that, something edgy, it's a fantastic way of communicating aspects of your character you don't want to fully disclose yet. Let's see. Tiefling traits. Tiefling has certain racial traits as a result of their further descent. You get ability score increase in your intelligence and your charisma, making Tieflings really good as bards or as sorcerers, for example. Tieflings mature at the same rate as humans but live a few years longer. They're about the same size and build as humans. Their size is medium. Well, they are humans with infernal heritage. Most of them. In many ways, they are like humans. Just a little bit different. Base walking speed 30 feet. Yeah, you get dark vision, which is very, very useful in D&D. Especially if you're playing with an old school player that likes to throw you into actual dungeons that are very dark. And you're gonna need a torch or something if you're not playing a Tiefling. So if you play a Tiefling, you're gonna get the dark vision. I have been in campaigns and one-shots that have had whole parties that had dark vision in one way or another, and we saved a bunch of gold on lighting implements like lanterns, torches, and whatnot, and we spent it on other stuff that was important for the dungeon exploring, like maps, paper for the wizards, materials for the wizards, rations and rope, for example. Not really cool stuff. So the dark vision is very strong, depending on the campaign that you're playing. Okay, thanks to your infernal heritage, you have superior vision in dark and dim conditions. You can see in dim light within 60 feet of you, as if it were bright light, and in darkness as if it were in dim light. You can't discern color in darkness, only shades of gray. You have resistance to fire damage, because we are hellish. We know that Thaumaturgy cantrip, and a third level hellish rebuke. So let's see what Thaumaturgy actually does. I think if I click this, it actually shows me. Yes, it does. Let's see. Yeah, Thaumaturgy. You manifest a minor wonder, assign a supernatural power within range. You create one of the following magical effects within range. You can boost your voice, cause flames to flicker, brighten, dim, or change color for a minute, which is very cool. Train an instantaneous sound from a point of origin of your choice, like a cry of a raven or ominous whispers, or the rumble of thunder. You instantaneously cause an unlocked door or window to fly open or slam shut. Fun fact, whenever I play this character, I would just run and jump through windows instead of using Thaumaturgy. Yeah. And you can also update the appearance of your eyes for 1 minute. If you cast a spell multiple times, you can have up to 3 of its 1 minute effects active at one time. You can dismiss such an effect as an action. It's a very good spell to have in general, and you get it for free if you play a Tiefling. That's very nice. But yeah. Let's see, what else do we have here? We have Hellish Rebuke, which basically means that if you get hit, you can use your reaction to throw some flames on the enemy, which is very, very useful, especially if you play something like a melee fighter, like a monk or a fighter, and you want some extra DPS. On 5th level, you can cast the Darkness spell, and you get the ability to do so after you finish a long rest. Charisma is your spell casting ability for these spells. Since we have +2 on Charisma, is pretty good. And if you play a Bard and you get use all your points for your highest roll. Nope. Way too ominous. Like we're trying to clear the air about tieflings. They're not hellish creatures that, well, they are, but they're not like bad. We're trying to, and that music is way too ominous. Singing of Hell. Okay, yeah, that works. So, you can speak, read, and write Common and Infernal. A lot of people use Infernal as a way of intimidation because, like we read before, Tieflings are sort of feared because of their Infernal heritage, and there's a ton of prejudice based on it. So, saying that you're going to speak something in Infernal and speak some, like, just some gibberish, when in reality you're just not speaking nothing, but they don't know that because they don't speak Infernal. It's a pretty good tool for intimidation. Charisma is one of our most useful tools, which kind of sucks when you're playing a monk because my charisma is my dump stat and just very, very, very bad. Okay, so you get a bunch of sub-races in which we are not gonna get into right now because my boy is not a sub-race of Tiefling, he's a regular vanilla Tiefling. But I think it was the subclasses are based on like different levels, something like that. You got Belzebul, Dispater, Fiorna, Glacia, Levistus, Mammon, this, and Zerial. Mephistopheles. There's a certain Tiefling down up there that has the Mammon. It's a Mammon Tiefling, but we're going to use the normal vanilla Tiefling. Not that any of the other ones are not normal, by the way, I'm not saying that. But yeah, let's choose the standard Tiefling. Different sub-races of Tiefling give you different ability increases and whatnot, but since we're playing the normal, again, the vanilla one, the vanilla standard Tiefling, I'll just get the buff as we mentioned before him. Can I go down for some reason? Yeah. Let's click next and choose our class. We get the +1 intelligence and +2 charisma based on our Tiefling heritage. Different classes get different stuff, as always. I'm not gonna go around every single one of them because there'll be a ton for one stream, and this is just one portion of this stream. So I'm just gonna use my favorite one, Monk, because my boy is a monk. And right now we're playing a character that's level 1, so we won't get to choose our subclass. However, we are able to see a little bit of the monk lore that's on the player's handbook. At first level you get unarmed defense, 2 proficiencies in skills, a simple weapon, and short sword proficiency, so meaning that you can choose any simple weapon from the DnD player's handbook and use it with your proficiency bonus. And you also get martial art. Martial arts, what it does is that it allows you to use your own body as a weapon instead of an improvised weapon. And you can also use these martial arts dice for several other stuff depending on your abilities, but the main one is being able to use it instead of your normal attack dice. Not attack, damage dice. So if it counts as a monk weapon. Monk weapons are any simple weapon and a short sword. Now, what this means is that you can go absolutely nuts with RP and by saying you're going to use your martial arts dice instead of your normal damage dice and describe the type of technique you're going to use the weapon with. Monks are neat. Monks are neat. I love monks, which is why my boy is a monk. Oh, we're going holy right now. This is the holy sanctity of DnD 5e monks, which are very good at which are very good at early level. Let us pray, or they add a new subclass into 5e in which they are just as good in later game as they are in the early game. Let us pray. Have a spicy build from what he uses a quarterstaff. My boy used a quarterstaff once before. It got broken. But it's one of the monk weapons. A simple one. With polar mastery, okay. That's interesting. That's a cool thing about 5e. You can come up with really interesting ideas and builds in order to make the character that you want. It is not as extensive and freeformed as something like Pathfinder, for example, but it's still very good. So yeah, we're going to choose a skill proficiencies here that we get for being a monk. Monks are known for being acrobatic, so we're going to choose acrobatics. And we're going to choose history, because my boy is very well versed on the different books of lore of his monastery. I always say that whenever new players come around that and they ask what skill proficiencies they should like put. I say think about your character's lore and what he or she or they would be interested in. And base your skill proficiencies in that. Mava would really practice his acrobatics, so he would go for acrobatics, for example. They are useful in certain situations in RP, in normal games. However, making it so you play your character based on your character's lore and personality makes it so that whenever you approach a situation based on what your character would do, you have the proper skills to back that up. I'm making a lot of characters. I'm making an Elden Ring theme campaign. Oh, that's interesting. I never played Elden Ring, but I've seen it. It's got some interesting lore. Are you doing it in 5e too? Let's see. We should read on a little bit about monks. Since monks is my favorite character, like archetype ever in anything, any system, any game. I try to play a monk as much as I can, or at least play with like a lot of unarmed skills in order to just punch people. For one very simple but very important reason. There's a certain satisfaction that comes from fighting something that's bigger than you. Something that's could be, I don't know, a demon or a god. And then run up to it and freaking punch it. The simple pleasure of doing that is the essence of monk. Everything else adds into that. So, different abilities that you get from like subclasses or the different weapons that you can use are usually to get that satisfaction in something else, if I'm explaining myself correctly. Way of the Shadow Monk is my favorite monk. Isn't we had the Shadow Monk able to cast the teleport between shadows? I'm dropping frames like crazy. We are getting Way of the Shadow right here on stream. Nope. Okay, yeah, that sounds kind of good. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm thinking about playing Shadow. My favorite one is 4 Elements, because Avatar, but Way of the Shadow Monk sounds very interesting. Let's see. This is the basic understanding of monks. Okay. We should probably read a little bit of this. I'll try my best to speed through it so we don't get stuck. But yeah. Her fists a blur as they deflect an incoming hail of arrows. A half-elf springs over a barricade and throws herself into the massed ranks of hobgoblins on the other side. He whirls among them, knocking their blows aside and sending them reeling, until at last she stands alone. That's probably Bloodhunter or Warlock. I feel ya. I like Barbarian, but like Monk is like my favorite. Moving with the silence of the night, a black-clad halfling steps into a shadow beneath an arc, and emerges from another inky shadow on the balcony of a stone throws away. She slides her blade free of its cloth-wrapped scabbard and peers through the open window at the tyrant prince, so vulnerable in the grip of sleep. Whenever the disciplined monks are united on the ability to magically harness the energy that flows into their bodies, whether channeled as a striking display of combat prowess or as a subtler focus of defensive ability and speed. This energy infuses all that a monk does. The magic of ki. Monks make careful study of a magical energy that most monastic traditions call ki. This energy is an element of the magic that suffuses the multiverse, specifically the element that flows through living bodies. Monks harness this power within themselves to create magical effects and exceed their body's physical capabilities. And some of their special attacks can hinder the flow of ki in their opponents. Using this energy, monks channel uncanny strength and strength into their unarmed strikes, which is martial arts die. As they gain experience in martial training and their mastery of ki gives them more power over their bodies and the bodies of their foes. Let's see. Training and asceticism. So there's a common misconception of what a monk should be in D&D. Like I always like to say, and I've said this multiple times on this stream, most of the things on, if not all other things, in the player's handbook are guidelines. They are ideas for you to use and mix and match on whatever you want to make in your character, whatever you want your character to be. So for example, a monk's idea of going into a monastery that is very much oriental, like inspired, or training on very specific martial arts that are on the Chinese variety, for example, like Chinese Kung Fu and whatnot. And this idea of being in a monastery and praying and like worshipping a certain god and all that is something very cool, and I like it a lot. But it's not the only monk you can make. Monks, the idea of a monk is female manipulation and martial arts. However, those two abilities can be gained in any way, shape, or form, depending on your DM allows, like I always say. So this idea for a monk, for example, that I had for a while is a normal fighter that was hired into a group of special operations within the military because they were captain of the guard or something. And just like the Korean military trains their soldiers with Taekwondo masters, for example, this special operations unit would study beneath the hand of a monk. So this monk is just not their normal like martial arts, meditation and whatnot monk. Instead they gained their abilities by studying under this monk's wing, but they're still just captain of the guard. Very, very Western, not Oriental, European like normal guard, like something you will see in like Fire Emblem, but they just happen to know Taekwondo. Classes have their lore, they have their idea of what a class should be, but you can always break them and mold them into whatever you want to be. So yeah, anyways. Small world cloisters dot the landscapes of the worlds of D&D, tiny refuges from the flow of ordinary life, where time seems to stand still. The monks who live there seek personal perfection through contemplation and rigorous training. Many enter the monastery as children, tend to live there when their parents died, when food couldn't be found to support them, or in return to some kindness that the monks have performed for their families. Some monks live entirely apart from the surrounding population, secluded from anything that might impede their spiritual progress. Others are sort to isolation, emerging only to serve as spies or assassins at the command of their leader, a noble patron or some other mortal or divine power. The majority of monks don't shun their neighbors, making frequent visits to nearby towns or villages and exchanging their service for food or other goods. Let's say. As versatile warriors, monks often end up protecting their neighbors from monsters or tyrants. For a monk, becoming an adventurer means living the structured communal lifestyle to become a wanderer. This can be a harsh transition, and monks don't undertake it lightly. Those who live their cloisters take their work seriously, approaching their adventures as personal tests of their physical and spiritual growth. As a rule, monks care little for material wealth and are driven by a desire to accomplish a greater mission than merely slaying monsters and plundering their treasure. Again, that depends on the monk. As you make a monk character, think about your connection to the monastery, where you learned your skills and spent your formative years. Were you an orphan or a child left on the monastery's threshold? Did your parents promise you to the monastery in gratitude for a service provided by the monks? Did you enter a secluded life in order to hide from a crime you committed? Kind of like Sister Act. Or did you choose the monastic life for yourself? What my boy did was study under a very old monk lady, Tabaxi, with a very strange and dark past that she kept secret for her whole life. She decided to spend most of her olden days, her last years on the earth, just chilling in a shack somewhere in a village. Trying not to annoy anybody. So my boy here was just a beggar, a child that wanted to beg, didn't know any common back in the day. So she decided to take him under her wing, just because she was bored, and she ended up becoming her master, his master, that is. So he wasn't necessarily a part of a cloister, but he was secluded from the outside world through most of his life because he was so busy training and cleaning and pretty much doing anything and everything for this lady. But again, that's just my boy. Then he became a monk by joining a monastery and going outside for an adventure, being in a pilgrimage and all that. But like I said, just a guideline. Let's see. Consider why you left. Did the head of your monastery choose you for a particularly important mission beyond the cloister? Perhaps you were cast out because of some violation of the community's rules. Did you dread leaving, or were you happy to go? Is there something you hope to accomplish outside the monastery? Are you eager to return to your home? As a result of the structured life of a monastic monk community and the discipline required to harness ki, monks are almost always lawful in alignment. My voice chaotic, because like I said, he wasn't in a monk monastery for most of his life. And this is the quick build. First, the highest ability score should be dexterity, and then wisdom. The usual dump stat for monks are charisma or intelligence. However, it will depend on whatever ability scores you have, whether or not you want to use them there, and the campaign that you want to run. And this is the table of the usual stuff that you get from monks. You get more speed the higher level you are. More key points in order to use for like different stuff depending on your subclass, as well as a higher martial arts die. This is normal information for monk. You get 1d8 of hit dice. They're more in the mid-range for melee fighters and not as healthy as something like a barbarian, for example. But they are pretty good at holding their feet. They're not wizards, okay? If someone looks at you run, you're not gonna die. Don't worry. You get no proficiencies in armor because monks don't use armor most of the time. Because of an ability what we're going to see later on. You get proficiencies in saving and saving throws in strength and dexterity. And two skills that we already chose. We chose acrobatics and history. And you also got proficiencies in one artisan's tools or one music. What is this whimsical ass music? Hello? Looney Tunes ass soundtrack. My bad, sorry. I got distracted. Just wear a short sword or any simple weapon for your monk weapon. A Dungeoneer's pack or an Explorer's pack. I usually pick the Dungeoneer's one. You can look up whatever they do. They each have like very essential items for your D&D campaign, such as rations, rope, all the good stuff. Okay. You get unarmed defense at first level, meaning that if you're not wearing a shield or armor, your AC equals to 10 plus dex plus your wisdom modifiers. Monks, as a general rule of thumb, don't wear armor, ever. If you're playing a monk, you don't need to worry about armor or your AC. It's all calculated automatically based on your modifiers, which is why you always want to have a high dex and an equally as high wisdom. Martial arts means that you can use dexterity instead of strength for the attack and damage rolls on monk weapons and unarmed strikes, which makes it very good. And like Itami, is that how you pronounce that? Itami said you can use something like a quarterstaff, since it is a simple melee weapon. Certain monasteries that use specialized forms of the monk weapons. Example, you might use a club that is two lengths of wood connected by a short chain called a nunchaku, or a sickle with a shorter, straighter blade called a tama. Whatever name you use for your monk weapon, make sure you can use the same game statistics provided by the weapon. Or the weapon. If a monk weapon or a weapon that you want to use is not in the 5e rulebook, which happens surprisingly often, you can always ask your DM if you can use said weapon with a different stat block from a weapon that's actually in 5e. That's the usual rule. Oh, this is a usual workaround around that issue. Okay. At second level, you get key points. Key points are the essence of Monk in terms of gameplay. It's a mystic energy that flows inside of all the creatures in D&D. And we as monks learn to harness it and use it to our advantage in order to become faster, more evasive, do more damage, and all that good stuff, as well as more things we'll see later on based on our subclass. When you spend a key point, it's unavailable until you finish a long rest or a short rest, at the end of which you draw all your expended ki back into yourself. You must spend at least 30 minutes of rest meditating to regain your key points. Make sure you tell your DM you're going to be meditating, since there are a couple of DMs that I play with. Actually, no, they haven't. But like I know there's DMs out there that require you to specify that you're meditating, or else they won't give your key points back. Which is nice. I like that. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Okay. My bad, I was changing the music. We'll have to choose a different soundtrack later on for something else. But this one worked really well for this portion of the stream. You get more key points later on based on your level. And you get your key save DC based on a certain number of attacks and abilities that you can use that are used to stun your enemy, push them back and whatnot. You're going to have to calculate your DC for it. Flurry of Blows is the main one we're going to use for DPS. It makes it so you can use a bonus action to do 2 unarmed strikes instead of 1. Yeah, I forgot to mention, after you make a normal attack with a monk weapon or your martial arts die, you are going to be able to do a second attack as your bonus action using the martial arts die. So if you attack with a sword, you can then do a different roll, and if you hit that roll, you're going to be able to roll a d4 at level 1, for example, in order to attack again. With Flurry of Blows, you can do that twice. Vision Defense makes it so you can dodge as a bonus action by spending 1 key point. What dodge does is that it gives the enemy disadvantage when they're attacking you. Step of the Wind makes it you can dash with 1 key point as a bonus action. This is one of the most essential and coolest mechanics that Monk has on D&D 5e. The amount of mobility that you can use, you have in 5e is absolutely insane. If you play something that another race that has more speed, like say Tabaxi, you can get to crazy lengths of mobility. Right now with level 1, our speed is 30 feet, I believe. Yes, 30 feet. So if we're going to use Step of the Wind in order to dash as a bonus action, we are going to be able to run around for 1 turn a total of 60 feet, which is unheard of. And it gets even faster later on, since with more monk levels you get more of an increase in your running speed. Let's see, unarmed contact, movement. Your speed increases by 10 feet while you're not wearing armor or wielding a shield. This bonus increases when you reach a certain monk level, as shown as a monk table. At 9th level, you gain the ability to move along vertical surfaces and across liquids on your turn without falling during the move. You can basically run on water. You can run on water, you can run up walls. Monk is one of the most mobile classes in D&D, maybe the most mobile one. Which is very, very fun to do. Very fun to play. It makes it so your DM has to think about how you are going to traverse the terrain that they lay upon you. based on your movement speed, which is insanely high. You have monastic tradition at 3rd level, in which you commit yourself out from monastic tradition. That is your subclass. We're going to be seeing them later on. You get different abilities based on your subclass. Deflect missiles makes it so you can roll to catch a projectile that was aimed at you as a reaction. You can also throw it out by spending key points. And it's one of the best defensive abilities that we have. It is very, very good. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to use it all that much because for some reason I haven't played against much ranged like enemies. But it is very, very good. You need to reduce the damage to 0 in order to throw it back though. I mean, the arrow that is. Ability score improvement. Yeah, you get more ability scores when you reach 4th, 8th, 12th, 16th, and 19th level. And you can only, there you go, increase your ability score to level 20. Slow fall. Beginning at 4th level, you can use your reaction when you fall to reduce any falling damage you can take by an amount equal to 5 times your monk level. Right now we're level 1, that will be 5. But like I said, mobility, very important, very good, very useful, very fun. You can extra attack at 5th level, making it so you can attack up to 4 times in total as a monk by spending key points and as a single attack, which is very good. Key power strikes at 6th level makes it so that your attacks are unarmed. Your martial arts. That's the final boss thing. That's way too much. Yeah, that one's gonna get copyrighted. Okay, I need some new music. Let's see. Good RPG from the PS1. Let's see. How about help me out here. Final Fantasy VII? You can't go wrong with Final Fantasy VII, right? Hopefully you're able to actually understand. And understand. To actually hear me properly. Oh, there's no Final Fantasy VII soundtrack in here. Oof, that's not good. There's only arrangements and remixes. That's very bad. How about 8? Nope. How about... What is that one game? Arc Racer? Yeah, Arc Racer. Yeah, that should be good. We're getting into the fartiest video game OSTs here on the stream, but very heroic ones. This is very heroic. Holy cow. Okay. This makes it so that if you're fighting ghosts, you can punch ghosts. Pretty much. So enemies that are resistant to physical attacks, for example, are no longer resistant to your punches since now they are counted as magical weapons for the purpose of resistance and immunity. Evasion makes it so you have advantage against dexterity fails. Dexterity saving throws. So if someone throws a fireball at you, then you get an advantage on dexterity saving throw on that, which is very, very useful as well. As you can see, you start getting less defensive abilities the later levels and more defensive ones, as most of the offensive abilities that you get are actually from your subclass. Stillness of mind, make a, sorry, at 7th level you can use your action and one effect. So to end one effect on yourself that is causing you to be charmed and frightened. Purified, pretty much. Purity of body. At 10th level, your mastery of the Qi flowing through your mix makes you immune to disease and poison. Most defensive stuff. Tongue of the Sun and Moon. Starting at 30th level, you can learn to touch the key of other minds so that you understand all spoken languages. Moreover, any creature that can understand a language can understand what you say. You become the universal translator of the party, pretty much. This is a really funny story about this. When I play on my original campaign, when I played this character, my friend Panway actually chose what's it, Celestial? I think it was Celestial as one of his languages. So he was the Celestial translator for a couple of sessions. At one point, but like I didn't tell him I had this ability, so I just let him like translate. So at one point I was like, my character was supposed with that on like normal and they can understand because I had this ability. And they went crazy. He went crazy because like he was like, why didn't you translate this whole time? And I was like, I didn't want to steal your thunder, man. It was really fun. But yeah, this makes it so you can talk with pretty much anybody that speaks any language, and they can understand you, you can understand them, and it's all really good. Dr. Sartre? Is that how you pronounce it? Doctor. Okay, can I call you Doc? For short? Welcome in, by the way. Thank you for the follow. We have a fantastic time here. Welcome to the Neuronomics channel where we play retro variety games, DnD, and talk about general tomfoolery. Kinda crazy how this very ominous music came in like when you came in. Welcome in, Doc. How you doing? How's everything? Hope everything's going alright. You're gonna call me that one dumbass? If I want what Duck Wars. If you want to what Doc works. I'm not gonna call you that one dumbass, that's mean. But like, I can't call you Doc. Welcome in, by the way. Let's see. Oh, the music just cut off. Oh, okay. So, this music is the act racer like. Okay, I'm getting distracted again. Let me just go through this real quick. Act racer is a game about being God, but this music is very, very ominous. It's not very like angelic. It's like vengeful. So I'm gonna skip it. Satan. Yeah, that's alright. Okay. Welcome in, Doc. Do you play D&D? What's your favorite class if you do? What's your favorite class? Your favorite subclass and all that? Just listening while I play D&D and DM D&D? Oh, that's good. Let's see. What's your favorite class, man? Let's see. Diamond Soul. Beginning at 14th level, you master your key grants you proficiency in all saving throws. Additionally, whenever you make a saving throw and fail, you can spend 1 key point to reroll it and take the second result. This is, again, very useful defensive skill that we have as a monk. In later levels, with a ton of the spells in 5e are save and suck, meaning that you have to make saving throws. So this is very useful. Timeless Body. At 15th level, your key sustains you so that you don't suffer none of the frailty of old age. And you cannot be aged magically. You can still die of old age, however. In addition, you no longer need food or water. This is mostly for RP, except for the food and water potion that's very good for dungeons. But this makes it so that if you reach your character reaches 15th level, you can essentially retire him as a master or something like that. And if the character comes back later on as an old man, it'll still have all the abilities. It won't be affected. It won't be retired as a monk. And it'll still be able to do all the things that he did as 15th level character once. If I'm explaining myself correctly. So the dream of every monk character that I made, which are a ton, I've made a bunch of monks, is for me to play them as old men and women and not being like slowed down by their age. They all like the old master archetype, like that one guy from Kill Bill, for example, or a bunch of the characters from the Jackie Chan movies, or a couple of the characters in Bruce Lee movies, for example. When there's this very old, long bearded master that doesn't want to teach the younglings, but then eventually they do it. This archetype, that's an archetype I really like in general, so I want to make a character like that. And with this ability, that is facilitated. Empty body. Beginning at 18th level, you can use your action to swing 4 key points to become invisible for 1 minute. During that time, you also have resistance to all damage but force damage. Additionally, you can spend 8 key points, cast the Astral Projection spell without needing to material components. When you do so, you cannot take any other creatures with you. You can do some astral shit as a monk. You have harnessed and mastered the power of connecting with the inner energy of all living beings in the universe so much that you can astral project yourself. Very cool. Let's see, perfect self. At 20th level, when you roll initiative and you have no key points remaining, you regain 4 key points. No, it's not that good an ability, honestly. Yeah, that sounds right. Oh, I should. No, wait. I know. I can't. I was probably gonna use the DnD beat 'em up music here, but it's very upbeat, and we're just making a character here. And you get like information on monastic orders and whatnot, and the monastic transition, the monastic tradition that you can choose. This is your subclass. You choose it at level 3. We're gonna go and choose it right now, but these are the ones that I have right here installed on Roll20. Long and short of it, Way of the Up in Hand is good at punching. Way of the Shadow can teleport between shadows and be very edgy. Way of the Four Elements, my favorite, can control spells and the elements to a certain extent. You can cast Blight, you can cast Cone of Cold, I believe. A lot of really cool stuff. Drunken Master is very defensive and is based on the Drunken Master like archetype and martial art. If you've seen the movie by Jackie Chan, it's basically that. What I can say is focused on the usage of monk weapons, where the Sun Soul can shoot lasers and be a Dragon Ball Z character. Way of the Long Death and Sun's... Okay. Way of the Long Death, I haven't seen it. Way of Mercy wears a cool mask, and you can actually heal your allies using your martial arts die and your key point. Which is very, very interesting for a monk. I never played something like this. But June, who's actually been here on the chat a couple times. My buddy June actually played at least. I don't know if he plays it or nowadays. Way of the Mercy Monk. The best feature of it is that you can actually design your own mask. And like RP it. Although I kind of did the same for my monk, but without being a Way of Mercy, just because I could. Way of the Astral Self is Jojo. It's just Jojo. Just summon a stand. The stand can take a number of forms, and it can attack for you using your wisdom, I believe. And Way of the Ascendant Dragon, the new one for Fistfins, which is very, very interesting, and we'll probably try and see it today. I'll try to go through most of these, if not all of them. But it's already been an hour and 26 minutes, and we're just choosing a race and a class, so it's... yeah. And you get all that good stuff. Okay, So that's a monk. That's the basic gist of monk. It's a very interesting class and my personal favorite in D&D, for the simple reason of being able to punch stuff real good. So it's very, very fun. Also, the aesthetics are nice. I like the Chinese monastery aesthetics. Okay. So ability goal here. I'm going to try and keep this as canon. So in order to... There's a couple of ways you can do your ability score stuff. You can use point buy, you get a certain amount of points you can allocate to different skills, different abilities. You can roll for stats, which is very random and can lead to pretty shitty characters, but that's the fun of it. It's like gambling. Or standard array, which is the boring one. For more advanced characters, if you're making your first character ever and you plan to use it on an actual campaign or one-shot, I'd recommend to use either standard array or point buy. But I'm fucking crazy, so I'm going to go for roll for stats. With roll your dice, check the chat window to view your results in detail. Assign the results below to your preferred attributes. So the way you do it is you roll 46 and then drop the lowest roll. You do that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. And then you... Wait, no, not 7 times. What am I talking about? 6 times. You add them up, each roll individually, and those are your stats. And then you allocate them based on whatever you want your stats to be. We want, as monks, to have our highest stat at dexterity, so that's going to be a 17, which is very, very good. I didn't roll that badly, honestly. I've seen way worse rolls. Way worse. Like I said, if you're making a first character for the first time, use standard array or point buy. Don't use roll unless you're crazy. That's up to the DM most of the time though. But if you have a choice, go for standard array or point buy. And your DM can help you choose. Okay, so our highest stat has to be dexterity as a monk, and our second highest needs to be wisdom. Strength is not of that much use for us for attacks, but it's pretty good for ability checks and skill checks, such as athletics, for example, and whatnot. Constitution is going to be really good for our HP. Intelligence is going to be good, again, for skill checks and ability checks. And Charisma is pretty good so that people don't fucking hate us. As well as the save DC for our Tiefling spells that we saw beforehand. So, I am going to try my best to allocate this. We have 3 14s and a 10. So one of these is going to be the dumb stat. I think I'm going to take intelligence as the worst stat. My boy is dumb. My boy may be dumb, but he is kind of charismatic. Charisma, I'd always define it as the ability of your character to convince people to act or do things the way you want. But it's more than that. That's just one of the uses. It's I fucking hate saying this, but it's the general risk of your character. if for my fellow Zoomers out there, it's the risk, but like in a more general sense. Risk, man. All right, Constitution is gonna be 14 and Strength is gonna be 14. Intelligence is gonna be our dumb stat, meaning that we're pretty freaking dumb. But we are pretty good at dexterity, which is damage and attack rolls, as well as mobility and general acrobatics. You have a summary of the different ability scores and what they do here. We're not going to go through all of that, but it tells you what. Yay! see you making into your dumb stat once more. Yes? My characters are fucking dumb. Welcome Interesting. Interesting is one of my fellow DnD players and a couple times my DM as well. He has seen the creation of my boy here and is here to see the recreation of him. So usually if you go for the quick build, it'll tell you what its ability scores are the most important for your character. For here, I'm gonna go with this. I rolled pretty freaking well. 3 14s is not that bad. 14 is a pretty neutral number. We're going to get a low abilities modifier on intelligence, meaning that if there's any situation in which we are required to use our brain, we are in an inherent disadvantage. But that's okay because we're really good at punching. And you got wrist. So it's all good. If you're making a wizard, don't use your intelligence as your dump stat, by the way. Just throwing that shit out there. Okay, our backgrounds. Backgrounds is very interesting because they define different ability scores, skill, proficiencies, and different equipment options that you get based on your own lore. The classic Tiefling experience. Yep. Got raised because my eyes are yellow. Is adopted in here? I don't think it is. Ooh, that's bad. I'm gonna have to add it. Soldier, spy, urchin, noble, hermit, entertainer, folk hero, acolyte, criminal, and all that good stuff. I'm going to add a custom one here because apparently it's not in the compendium, which is something that Roll20 is really good at. Letting you add different custom backgrounds. Thank you, the Arc Racer soundtrack on the Super Nintendo. Oh, that's the end of the thing. Okay, let's go for regular X. Alright. So, let's add a custom one. Let's see. Adopted by E. Background. This my boy was adopted by a very ranty and stupid tabaxi lady who wears a mask and had certain problems with alcohol in the past. But she's now a very nice lady. Let's see. What your background does is it gives you certain lore and bonds and like flaws and all that good stuff, as well as ability scores and skill check score proficiencies. So it's very important to add the background that fits your character better in terms of your own lore and personality. Because like I said, the more you make your character based on your own personality of your character, makes it so that whenever you want to act as your character would like to act, it's way easier and you get better results. So, as adopted, we're going to add it as a custom background real quick. Adopted. We're going to skip the this set of stuff, which is because this is very much RP, and you can basically just roll a d10 for each one and get whatever, or d6 in this case, and get whichever you rolled for. But this is very important for lore, and I don't want to disclose all the lore for my boy real quick just now, but yeah. We get skill proficiencies in persuasion, deception, and stealth. The language of our adopted family, without being able to speak it fluently, all the sentences with bad syntax and grammar. Name is Todd, as an example. When you speak in this language, those who understand are inclined to ignore you or take offense. So our common is very fucking bad. And you get a set of common clothes matching the style of worn by your current family. Something of a trinket left from your birth parents can be worth more than 5 gold, and a pouch of 10 gold pieces. That's true, it helps you when you basically pick apart your personality, basically flanderize it to the point where it becomes the main point. That makes it easy to say in character too. Yeah, and you get rewarded for it in gameplay. So it's very, very good. Okay, so we get skill proficiencies. So we just a proficiency in type skill, and we get it on deception, I think it is. Yeah, deception. We add a different one. I'm going to do this as quick as possible so we can move on, actually, since I still need to talk about the subclasses. Oh, we're getting spooky. Ooh, persuasion. Persuasion, and the third skill is... By the way, Tristan, D&D starts in like an hour and 20 minutes, right? Stealth. Like I said, personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. I usually leave this blank and then fill it out as the campaign progresses. So I'm not gonna fill it out right now. Roughly, yeah. Okay, we got that then. And the rest of the features are, again, pretty RP based. We're not gonna care about gold right now since I'm not gonna use this character to play right now. Just saw you were streaming, decided to drop in. Oh, thank you. Okay, but the heirloom that my character got from his master was her mask, which symbolizes the previous idea of her cult of letting go of her own identity in order to become a part of the collective, pretty much, without getting into too much detail, as well as conforming to the different societal norms within the cult she was in. So he carries it around instead of wearing it in order to remind himself of the way her mother, pretty much, actually was and not what she was pretending to be, as well as reminding himself to be himself and not putting too much of a mask, because masking is very unhealthy. Don't do it too much. Okay, equipment. We're just gonna use normal standard equipment for our class. So we're going to use the class equipment here. Depending on your class, you get different equipment. You also get different equipment depending on your or your background, but I didn't put it in, so I kind of forgot. We're going to have to use the quarterstaff. Quarterstaff is a classic monk weapon, and a dungeoneer's back for dungeoneering. By the way, I hope the sound, the stream sounds alright. My tongue is getting tired. And definitely, you don't get any spells aside from the Tiefling Stardom spells, like Thaumaturgy at this level. A true stick moment. Sounds good? Alright, good. And feats are accomplishments, events, certain things that your character has done, and you can put it based on the events that happen in the campaign as a feat instead of taking a level. I usually ignore it unless the DM rewards me with a fate. I just like getting the level in order to get my abilities or ability scores to 20 as fast as possible. Because yeah, sure, being able to cast Produce Flame is nice. It's really cool, yeah, but like if my dexterity is stuck at 12, it's not very good. Okay, add the name. I'm gonna rename my character. My character was originally named 7. But I'm gonna name it Nero now. The site is breaking. Holy cow. What is happening? Oh my goodness. Okay, we're gonna have to not move it too much. Selection of classes that need you to be upright in a ton of stat. Yes. Ability scores are very important for a lot of classes. Monk included. Monk is very reliant on its dexterity score. That's the case for Monk and Ascendant Fighter subclasses. Yeah. Also, this music is very much ominous. Do you know that Dracula X was called Vampire's Kiss in Japan? Or was it in Europe? I think it was in Europe. Kinda crazy. Ooh, okay. Funky. Okay, age. Originally he was 19. Height. 5'9". Which I don't know how much is that in meters, but yeah. Weight. I have a very hard time choosing my character's weight for some reason. So I usually leave them blank and then look up what a monk would weigh. They're very nimble, but their muscular structure is very defined. They have a lot of muscle mass usually, and I'm not really sure how to put that into a certain number. So I'm gonna leave this blank for now. Eyes are yellow, and hair is blonde, and their skin is pink. Okay, you can look at my PNG right now. Would you say that's pink? I would say that's pink, but then again, I'm not that savvy in color theory and whatnot. I am sure that, like, if an artist shows me like since this stream, I apologize for for not calling this color what it is. But I'm a simple brain man, and I think this is pink. You're welcome to put it in the comments in the YouTube video on the VOD, or send me a DM. Tell me what character this is. That would be very useful actually for future commissions. But I think this is pink. And there we have it. That's it. My race is Tiefling, sub-race is Standard Tiefling, class is Monk, adopted background. Starting equipment based on class and background. Arcane. The Arcane is a mystery to you. We don't know shit about spells. We're monks. We're all about that punching stuff. Unless you're aware of the 4 elements monk, like me. And a pinkish, it depends on the light, I suppose. More like a cherry blossom pink or salmon. I feel like I think it's salmon. And my name is Nero. My age is 19. I'm actually 24, but don't tell nobody. Your height is 5'9". Not accurate to IRL. I am actually 7 feet tall. I'm huge. My eye color is yellow. And my hair is blonde. My skin is pink. Sorta. And the only choice left is to press it down, press on, and turn back. If you're editing an existing character, all your existing data will be lost into the void when you apply your changes. That's a wonderful thing about Charactermancer. It streamlines your character creation process to such a degree that anybody can do it. So a lot of the math gets skipped, a lot of the choices get skipped, unless you play something like Wizard. It becomes a lot more simple and manageable for new players. Which is one of the reasons I even stayed until like playing DnD. If I had to do a character the old-fashioned way, Roll20 will cast all your data to the abyss itself, never to be seen again. Roll20 is fucking crazy. And there we have it. That's because the Charactermancer starts you at level 1. Yeah. And this is our character sheet for our boy right now. However, there are a couple of things we're going to do to level it up. Just like Christian said right here on the chat. Charactermancer usually starts at level 1, so in order to make a character at say level 5, like we're going to do, we're going to have to level them up. Which is also a very streamlined and simplified process in Charactermancer. We click the cog over here, and we click Launch Level Plus Charactermancer. If you choose level 1, then your character gets reset into level 1 and you lose everything. Which is kind of stupid that they put it next to the Character Plus one. But anyways, welcome to the Charactermancer level up. Look at you with all that experience. Yep. Now it's time to claim your reward. The Charactermancer will walk you through the level up process step by step, and your character will be at the next level in no time. Changes are saved as you move through the process. If you change your mind, use the buttons on the top to navigate back to previously completed sections. Your companion awaits. The Charactermancer currently supports a vast variety. We read this already. It is a great option to just quickly make a character, but it relies on the DM buy the books on Roll20. I'm now giving you the option to like type in the ISBN code to unlock the book you have IRL. Yeah, I think I talked about that on early on the stream. Roll20 is really good for playing D&D. It is not very good at being a good consumer-friendly product. Like Tristan said, and like I said before, there is no way to introduce a book that you have physically into Roll20. You have to buy them at full fucking price on the Roll20 marketplace. It's absolutely insane. And it's such a big detriment to Roll20 that a bunch of people that wanted to get into D&D and most likely got into D&D through Roll20 will have to resort to, you know, different methods in order to play D&D. This is the best free tool to play D&D online, but with the amount of trouble that carries on, like buying all the books for a total of like $300 to $400, sometimes it's just not worth like the effort, which is very sad because it drives people away from the hobby, and that's not good. You should bring people in. You do not know pain until you have to manually enter a dozen first. Oh yeah, it's fucking bad for the DM too. I forgot about that. I don't DM, so I don't have that problem. But if you're DMing and you don't have the books or a pro account, then your players cannot use your content. You're pretty much fucked unless you, you know, acquire them in a different way. Which is what I have done a couple of times, because it's kind of a premium hobby, but it really shouldn't be, in my opinion. I think a couple of the books are a little bit overpriced. They are very good, but since they're essential to play anything like that's not normal PHB races and classes, or like D&D Basic, which is the free version. Because like the player's handbook is already like 40. I started playing with D&D Basic rules, which are free to like download on Wizards, but they only allow you to make humans, elves, halflings, and dwarves. You cannot play a tiefling if you play D&D Basic. You need to play 5e PHB, which is money. And if you're a DM, then that's a whole lot more money. If you're a DM, make sure you have money. Like, how damn. See. It's the same problem playing Pathfinder or Roll20. It does not even have the Facebook option, so you have to manually enter everything? That's insane. And then at one point, why even use Roll20? You can just use one of the Pathfinder tools in order to make characters and do the rolls over there. It's insane. It's anti-consumer. It's literally anti-consumer. But yeah, enough ranting, enough capitalism. We need to make a character because I have a friend that has the books, so I had to skip that process. Let's see. We're going to make a character at level 5, which is a early to mid level character. So for like a normal campaign, they usually start at level 3 or level 1. I don't think I've seen a character campaign start at level 5, but I could be wrong. But we're going to do this at level 5. The current state of my character is we just went through their basic training. After training for a couple, like 5 to 7 years with his master, and then going to a monastery, train for another like 3 years or something like that, and then going outside and starting their pilgrimage in order to become an adventurer and a proper disciple. So I feel like 5th level is the proper level. You can use your average health based on your hit dice, or you can go crazy with it and roll. We're gonna roll here. The grind never ends. Yeah. We roll like shit. So we only have 11 hit points. Roll like... These are all 1d8s. We rolled below average in every single one of them. We rolled a 4, a 2, a 1, and a 4. Meaning that we only have 11 hit points at level 5. So this character will have to be played extremely carefully in order for me not to die. But it is what it is. That's the magic of rolling. You never know what you're gonna get. So if you're in a campaign and your DM allows you to use methods to calculate different ability scores and health and whatnot, and you have the option not to roll, don't roll. You might find out that your character is awful because you have low ability scores, low health, low everything. Absolutely insane. We finally get to choose our monastic tradition though at level 3. I'm going to go quickly through all of these because I have like an hour before DnD. I might not even play Potionomics right now since this is going for long. It's great from one shots, not that good for longer running campaigns. Yeah, that's true. If you're playing a one shot, go crazy. Just roll for everything and see what happens. It makes for very interesting characters. But if you're going for that long-term campaign and you're constantly on the floor because your HP is 11 at level 5, not very good. But we're not planning on using this character to play D&D. I'm doing this for the sake of lore. So remember Hattori? He was great. Yeah. Okay, ominous music. Let's get some goddamn Symphony of the Night up in this bitch. What am I doing? What am I doing with my life, people? Keeps Symphony of the Night is not here on KH Insider for some reason. Holy cow! How can not? Oh, there it is. Symphony of the Night has one of the most beautiful soundtracks ever, and it fits perfectly for something like Curse of Strahd because it's all about vampires. Please remind me of who Hattori was. We played plenty of one-shots together. I feel like I kind of forgot. Let's do Illusionary Dance. Let's not do Illusionary Dance. Right, very ominous, very good. Okay. So, Way of Mercy. It's around here. Let's see, Way of Mercy. That was the old monk party that we rolled up to the house one shot. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I was playing Plata, a tiny little silver kobold. That was a monk. It was very fun. The kleptomaniac lizard folk that was afraid of being looked at by anything that looked like an eye. Yeah. So pretty much everything that was inside of that house. That was fun. We need to finish that one day. Let's see. Monks in the Way of Mercy learn to manipulate the life force of others to bring aid to those in need. They are wandering physicians to the poor and hurt. However, to those beyond their help, they bring a swift end as an act of mercy. They're basically doctors, physicians. in the way of monks. Monks can manipulate the energy within every single living creature, known as ki. They can use that to stun them, harm them, cause their blood to boil, or enhance their own abilities. But the Way of Mercy does something very unique to a monk, which is unheard of, which is heal. You can heal your allies with your martial arts die. This is a wood elf. Those who follow the Way of Mercy might be members of a religious order administering to the needy and making grim choices rooted in reality rather than its idealism. Some might be gentle voice creatures. Healers. Gentle voice healers. And I like the UA version of it more. Oh yeah. The Way of Mercy and the Way of the Astral Self used to be part of Unearthed Arcana. For those who don't know, Unearthed Arcana was basically unofficial D&D for test. It was like D&D beta. And you could try out different subclasses that were being worked on, and then you could select, send some feedback. And it was real nice. Usually what happens is that whenever a subclass gets released on Unearthed Arcana, it's very freaking strong, and then they nerf it to the ground on official. Which is good, because originally for example, Astral Monk was like insanely good. It was absolutely crazy. Specifically the fun of it when you can basically enrage and attack, and every attack dealt the extra damage equal to your level. Oh, that sounds crazy. Where was it? Oh yeah. Some might be gentle voiced healers beloved by their communities, while others might be masked bringers of macabre mercies. Macabre. The walkers on this way usually don robes with deep cowls, and they often conceal their faces with masks, presenting themselves as the faceless bringers of life and death. You got that at level 16 or something. Well, they had to get... I feel like they had to give something offensive to the Way of Mercy when they're usually... They're pretty much a support class within a martial, like, DPS class. So the combination and like the mere concept is kind of weird. So I feel like giving them more offensive stuff was the right call. They just didn't know what to do and how to do it, so they went for like normal in range. This is no. Let's use the Marvel Gallery. This is better. Yeah, this is better. Okay. So, Way of Mercy against proficiency in insight and medicine skills, because they're apothecaries, they're healers pretty much. You get a special mask at level 3, which you often wear when using the features of the subclass. You determine its appearance or generate it randomly by rolling a merciful mask table. So, Raven, Black and White, Crime, Visage, Slash, and Visage, Skull, and Butterfly. It's better balanced by giving them a life and death. That was their only defensive offensive. I can't read today. I cannot read. That was their only offensive ability in UA. Stream elements, can you please not? So it's better balanced by giving them life and death punches that get upgraded as you level up. Yeah. What's cool about Way of the Mercy is that, one, you get a cool mask that you get to design yourself. You can basically do that with any other subclass, but in Way of Mercy, it is especially important since it can be a vestige of what you're trying to represent. Like trying to be a merciful way for the sick to pass away peacefully, for example. Are you looking for to be a savior or something like that? And you can use your mask as a symbol of what you're trying to accomplish. Like I said, you can spend key points in order to touch a creature and restore a number of hit points equal to a roll, your martial arts die, and your wisdom modifier. You can use the key to inflict wounds instead by doing the same thing. This is more based on wisdom. So it's kind of like a caster version of a monk. manipulating the energy of he, while also being able to use their martial arts in order to hurt. So putting your dex higher than your wisdom higher than your dexterity on a Way of the Mercy Monk is actually viable, which is very good. A lot of people want to play wisdom characters. I think the subclass and Scourge Arsimar are the only things that make you like design a mask for the character. Yeah. Oh! Alright, hold on. Let me stretch a little bit. God damn, it's been like 2 hours and I haven't stretched. Okay. You can basically either heal or do extra necrotic damage with your unarmed attacks. Yep. You got the duality of monk. It's a support-like class for monk, subclass for monk, which is very interesting. It's a very unique kind of monk. Precision touch. You can administer even greater cures with touch, and if you feel it's necessary, you can use your knowledge to cause harm. When you use Hand of Healing or creature, you can also end one disease of one of the following conditions after the creature: blinded, deafened, paralyzed, poisoned, or stunned. You get a cleanse, pretty much. When you use Hand of Harm on a creature, which is the necrotic damage one, you can subject that creature to the poison condition until the end of the next turn. Flurry of Healing and Harm, 11th level. You can now mete out a Flurry of Comfort and Hurt. When you use Flurry of Blows, you can now replace each of the unarmed strikes with a use of your Hand of Healing, without spending key points for the healing. In addition, when you make an unarmed strike with Flurry of Blows, you can use Hand of Harm with that strike without spending the key points for the Hand of Harm. You can still use Hand of Harm only once per turn. So you add your necrotic damage on top of your normal dexterity damage. So if you roll a character that has good dexterity and good wisdom, Way of the Mercy Monk is very good. And Hand of Ultimate Mercy. Your mastery of life energy opens the door to the Ultimate Mercy. As an action, you can touch the corpse of a creature that died within the past 24 hours and expend 5 key points. The creature then returns to life, regaining a number of hit points equals to 4d10 plus your wisdom modifier. If the creature died while subject to any of the following conditions, it revives with them removed. I love this song so much. Hold on. Let me lower the volume real quick. This is the song. Hold on. I'm getting distracted. I love Nocturne so much. It's such a good song. What? Oh, it's the Japanese version. Okay. So you can basically cure disease and revive people as a monk. It's insane. It's really good. And you can use it until you finish that long rest. Way of Mercy. It's a very unique kind of monk. The fact that you actually need to design your own mask gives you more roleplay opportunities for that. You can always play a character that has a mask without having to play Way of Mercy, but it's a good option. I haven't played it myself. I've only played a... what was it? Open Hand, 4 Elements. Drunken Master and the other one. And a couple other ones, and... oh god, that's all of them. Okay, www, there we go. So that's Way of Mercy. Let's see Way of Shadow. It scales with your unarmed strike damage, so it gets better with the class. Yeah. You can play it as a force support class, giving a ton of points into your wisdom. Or if you're crazy and you roll for your stats, and you have really good rolls for both dexterity and wisdom, you can put them both at the same level, and then level them up individually, but to get more damage and more healing. And you can change between them depending on the situation. It is very, very versatile and very, very useful. Well, the Shadow is fun. It gets basically a bunch of spells and mobility. It's what Hattori wants. I need to play Way of Shadow. Let's see. Sorry, I got distracted with the music, but like, it's such a good freaking song. I love it. If I ever did karaoke, ever, it's not gonna happen anytime soon. This microphone is not fit for karaoke. But if I ever do it, I'm going to sing Nocturne. It's such a good song. It's very ninja. Yeah, you wanna be Sasuke? You wanna be Sasuke Uchiha? The family boy in himself? Then you play it without the shadow. Where is Dance of Pearl? There it is. Ooh, Lost Painting. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Nah, that's where the Long Death. Oh, okay. I love monks. I'm not an expert at them yet. Alright. Monks of the Way of Shadow follow a tradition that values strength and subterfuge. Thus, these monks might be called ninjas or shadow dancers, and they serve as spies and assassins. Sometimes the members of in our ninja monastery are family members, forming a clan swore to secrecy about their arts and missions. Are you sure this isn't the Uchiha clan? This sounds like Uchiha. Forming a clan sworn to secrecy about their arts and missions. Other monasteries are more like thieves' guilds, hiring out their services to nobles, rich merchants, or anybody else who can pay their fees. Regardless of their methods, the heads of these monasteries expect the unquestioning obedience of their students. See, not all monks are necessarily from a monastery, and if they are, the monastery isn't necessarily like based on a Chinese Shaolin monastery. It's more like the generic ninja. Okay. So be creative with your character. Then you can always make something up. Shadow Arts. Starting when you choose this tradition, at 3rd level you can use your key to duplicate the effects of certain spells. As an action, you can send 2 key points to cast Darkness, Dark Vision, Pass Without Trace, or Silence without providing material components. Additionally, you get the Minor Illusion cantrip, if you don't already know it. Now, we made a Tiefling here. Tiefling already has Darkness and Dark Vision, so it's not that good, but it's alright. It's alright. Minor Illusion is really fun to RP because you can basically make a tiny little illusion in the palm of your hand that works as a in order for you to showcase something, in order for you to like show a symbol or something like that, and you don't have anything to draw with in game. Really good. Shadow Step. 6th level, you'll gain the ability to step from one shadow to another. When you are in dim light or darkness, as a bonus action, you can teleport up to 60 feet to an unoccupied space you can see that is also in dim light or darkness. You then have advantage on the first melee attack you make before the end of the turn. You get different spells differently on the software. Oh, I only play standard, so I didn't know that. Thank you. Thank you for telling me. So this means you can teleport between shadows, and you can cast your own shadows with darkness and whatnot. And if you're in a dungeon, you can play tactically, throwing like vials of water at torches to generate more shadows, and it works really well. Especially if your DM spend the money to get dynamic lighting on Roll20. Which I don't recommend. Don't spend too much money on Roll20. You're already spending a lot on books. There are 8 different Tiefling sub races, so yeah. Yeah, that's like Mammon and the other ones. Block of Shadows. By 11th level, you have learned to become one with the shadows. When you are in an area of dim light or darkness, you can use your action to become invisible. You remain invisible until you make an attack, cast a spell, or are in an area of bright light. This is all about stealth. Stealth and shadows and mobility between shadows. At 17th level, you can exploit a creature's momentary distraction when it's hit by an attack. Whenever a creature within 5 feet of you is hit by an attack made by a creature other than you, You can use your reaction to make a melee attack against that creature. So you basically get a bunch of opportunity attacks against people who are hurt next to you. It's when you got like a rogue and want to keep up the stealth. Yeah. A lot of benefits mostly from fighting at night or inside dark places. Again, I feel like this subclass is very depending on the types of environments you're going to see, which is depending on your DM. But it looks fun to do. But if your campaign is set in a desert, like in the middle of like the Sahara Desert or the Atacama Desert, for example, where yes, during the night it's like very, very dark, but like it's dark everywhere. You know what I'm saying? But like if you're playing most of the campaign in an open area with a ton of sun, it's just not gonna work that well. Okay, I need another. It needs a bit of setup and teamwork to really shine. Yeah, you should always work within like with your teammates, your fellow players, and your DM to make a good story. Well, we have the shadow. That's double true because, like I said, it really depends on your environment, whether it is good or not. I would love to play one day. It looks very fun. Let's do Live a Live for the soundtrack. Is Live a Live here? Yes, it is. Live a Live was an activity. Yes. Oh, that I didn't know that. Okay. Let's do. Yeah, we are doing monks. So let's do the Chinese ones. It's fitting. I should play Live a Live on stream. There's so many games I need to play on stream, but here I am making a character in 5e, which I love. So we have Way of the Astral Self, the JoJo subclass. It wants to load. There we go. Note to self: create a spell that lets you throat punch people with your ghost, which is basically what the subclass does. You get a punching ghost in the form of your choosing. Let's see. That one is fun. Yeah. In Unearthed Arcana, this was broken. This was the best subclass on Monk on Unearthed Arcana. They're on the cooking one shot. Yeah, I remember. A monk who follows the way of the astral self believes their body is an illusion. They see their ki as a representation of their true form, an astral self. This astral self has the capacity to be a force of order or disorder. With some monasteries training students to use their power to protect the weak and others instructing aspirants in how to manifest their true selves in service of the mighty. What's the name of the game? Something like Maximilian Salamanderville. We've played so many one-shots that I legit forget. The name just went, oh yeah! Yeah, I remember that. It was called Max at the beginning, and then you added more and more and more to it. It was insane. It was like that guy from Teen, like what was that guy called? Vanderville. It was so much fun, yeah. So, the astral self is a translucent embodiment of the monk's soul. As a result, an astral self can reflect aspects of a monk's background, ideals, ideals, flaws, bonds, and an astral self doesn't necessarily look anything like the monk. For example, the astral self of a lanky human might be reminiscent of a minotaur, the strength of which the monk feels within. Similarly, an orc monk might manifest gossamer arms and a delicate visage, representing the gentle beauty of the orc's soul. Each astral self is unique, and some of the monks of this monastic tradition are known more for the appearance of their astral self more than their physical appearance. So this is really cool. As the same thing with Way of the Mercy and the Mask. You can shape and RP your Way of the Astral Self and the manifestation of your astral self to reflect aspects of your character that are not easily discernible. So if my boy here was a Way of the Astral Self, for example, which I might just do it because this is really cool. His Way of the Astral Self will be something resembling his master, for example. Or so it would be like Cat's Claws because his master was a Tabaxi, for example. Something like that. It can be aspects of your story, your personality, the character's soul, the background, different events that have marked them. Connections regarding their religion, regarding their beliefs in any way, shape, or form or capacity. You have a ton of opportunities here for RP that you can implement into your monk, which is something that not all subclasses have on monk, but the new ones are doing a really good job at it so far. When choosing a path, consider the quirks that define your monk. Are you obsessed with something? Are you driven by justice of a selfish or a selfish desire? Sorry. Any of these motivations could manifest in the form of your astral self. It allows for, yeah, that's what I wanted to say, yeah. It allows for a ton of character expression, like Tristan says. It's really, really interesting. The arms of the astral self. Your mastery of your key allows you to summon a portion of your astral self. As a bonus action, you can spend 1 key point to summon the arms of your astral self. When you do so, each creature of your choice that you can see within 10 feet of you must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take force damage equal to 2 rolls of your martial arts die, so you get a big AoE attack. For 10 minutes, these astral arms hover near your shoulders or surround your arms. Your choice. You can determine the arms of. Oh, this is the this is the Wild West chapter of Live and Live we're hearing right now. No, okay, it works. Sure. D&D it's a lot like cowboys and whatnot. It can be. Also, this is less JoJo stance and more like the Susanna from Naruto. You can say that, yeah. The general like public will see JoJo. Or well, that's a beautiful thing. It can be anything, as long as it's representing of your character. Because the JoJo stands are a physical representation of your character's fighting spirit or soul. So they reflect stuff that their character is. For example, something like Jotaro's like desire to be strong or something. I don't know what Star Platinum is supposed to represent. But as well as the fuck, what was it? The legacy of Jonathan Joestar. That's why Star Platinum looks like Jonathan, for example. Or why Fugo's got like poisonous like vials on his stance, like fist, because he fucking hates his rage problems. I think the Susanna has a different. Oh, no, it's the same. I think the Susanna has like a pretty like similar concept. I'm not familiar with Naruto, honestly, but I can feel that. I just like saying their JoJo stance because I like JoJo, honestly. Jonathan did say he would return as a wrathful ghost to beat up the odd. Yeah. And he did. While the spectral arms are present, you gain the following benefits. You can use your wisdom modifier in place of your strength modifier when making strength checks and strength saving throws. You can use special arms to make unarmed strikes. When you make an unarmed strike with the arms on your turn, your reach for it is 5 feet greater than normal. The unarmed strikes you make with the arms can use your wisdom modifier in place of your strength or dexterity modifier for the attack and damage rolls, and the damage type is force. Let's see, our wisdom is 15. Still pretty good. We got more charisma because of the monk, and one more intelligence. So you get force damage instead of normal damage, like bludgeoning damage, which is really good. 6th though, Visage of the Astral Self. You can summon the Visage of your Astral Self. The bonus action, as a part of the bonus action, you take to activate Arms of the Astral Self. You can spend 1 key point to summon the Visage for 10 minutes. It vanishes early if you are incapacitated or you fucking die. The spectral visage covers your face like a helmet or mask. You determine its appearance. We're back with the masks here. While the spectral visage is present, you gain the following benefits. Astral sight, you can see normally in darkness, both magical and non-magical, to a distance of 120 feet. You gain advantage on wisdom, insight, and charisma intimidation checks. And when you speak, you can direct your words to a creature of your choice. You can see within 60 feet of you, making it so only that creature can hear you. Alternatively, you can amplify your voice so that all creatures within 600 feet can hear you. You can scream. This is very good for monks, since at one point, like we saw before, you can speak pretty much to anybody and they'll understand you regardless of the language. So it's basically like a sending spell they cannot answer. Or a message. Body of the Astral Self. When you have both your astral arms and visage summoned, you can cause the body of your astral self to disappear. No action required. The spectral body covers your physical form like a sort of armor. To appear, not disappear, by the way. Connecting with the arms and visage, you determine its appearance. Again, more RP stuff. You get to choose how you look. I only played one Astral Self once. It was a harpy. And her way of the Astral Self were 2 hands. Because she... This is gonna sound really morbid, but she ate one of my characters that was a monk. Because she was a harpy, like she devoured them. Her corpse. Sorry, I got too dark over there. And inherited, like, consumed their ki. So their astral form, which at the time for Unearthed Arcana was just the visage and the arms, was 2 arms that were floating around. Instead of like being attached to her in any way, shape, or form, they would just float around like whenever she wanted. And her visage was a helmet. Normal like knight helmet, those that barely covered like the whole head. Also had this idea of like her feathers on her head becoming the astral visage and covering like her eyes, for example. So you get a ton of options here for RP. Even more so than before. And on that Arcana you only got to choose your arms and your visage. Let's see. While the spectral body is present, you gain the following benefits. Deflect energy. When you take acid, cold, fire, force, lightning, or thunder damage, you can use your reaction to deflect it. When you do so, the damage you take is reduced by 1d10 plus your wisdom modifier. Minimum reduction of 1. Empower arms. Once of each of your turns, when you hit a target with the arms of the astral self, you can deal extra damage of the target to the target equal to your martial arts die. Your connection to your astral self is complete, allowing you to unleash its full potential. As a bonus action, you can spend 5 key points to summon the arms, visage, and body of your astral self and awaken it for 10 minutes. This awakening ends early if you're incapacitated on that. While your astral self is awakened, you gain the following benefits. Oh, this is the... what was it? The wrestling chapter in Live I Live. I believe. Armor of the Spirit. You get no. I'm fucking lying. This is the Akira chapter in Live I Live. I'm talking shit. Let's see. Armor of the Spirit. You gain +2 bonus to your armor class. Whenever you use the extra attack feature on attack to attack twice, you can instead attack 3 times, and all the attacks are made with your astral arms. So you get to aura all over them. So where the astral self is freaking fantastic. You get a ton of buffs and immunities, and like you get to react to lightning with like a bunch of types of damage and basically catch them like you're catching a projectile. And again, like Tristan said, just a ton of character expression. I think I'm going to remake my boy to be a Way of the Astral Self because this is way too cool. But yeah, we have a couple more to go through. Let's see what time it is. I have half an hour. Okay, I gotta speed this up a little bit. Hope everyone's been enjoying the DnD stream. I wanted to do this for a while, but I never like got around to it. I wanted to play more Potion X today, but I think I won't be able to since I have DnD in a half an hour. Let's see, Drunken Master is the one I'm playing right now on a different character. So I have a pretty good understanding of what it can do. You can even flavor it based on either its backstory from his teacher, or maybe based on his heritage. Make it based on the demon he is the center of. Yeah, the possibilities are pretty much endless. I love that. I love when games let you express yourself like that. Like letting you choose your own like companion or... Yeah, this music is getting on my nerves. Your own companion or your... your own... Okay, what was it? What was that one thing wizards have? That they have like a cat? Or a bird or like... I don't play magic classes, man. Bro, I've been playing D&D for 4 years. I cannot remember. I cannot remember that shit. Familiar. There we go. Familiar. Like the wizards get their own familiar. They get to name them. Like choose whatever animal they have, based on like what the DM allows. And I like that the monk is getting something like that too. In the Way of the Astral Self and the Way of the Mercy. You get to add a ton of your own flavor into it, and I think I have a couple of ideas for what I would like in my own Way of the Astral Self monk. Let's see. The Way of the Drunken Master teaches its students to move with the jerky, unpredictable movements of a drunkard. A drunken master sways and tottering on unsteady feet. Pretend that it seems like an incompetent combatant that proves frustrating to engage. The drunken master's erratic stumbles consider a carefully executed dance of blocks, parries, advances, and attacks and retreats. Deception. A drunken master often enjoys playing the fool to bring gladness to the despoten, or to demonstrate humility to the arrogant. But when battle is joined, the drunken master can be a maddening, masterful foe. It's a very important factor of a drunken master. Drunken masters are not actually drunk. Since you get proficiency in the performance skill, if you don't already have it, it means that you can play the part of being a drunk in order to deceive you do some deception on your enemies. So you're a harder like target to hit, and you become more strength. You're more strong. My English is breaking up. You become more strong because of it. Now, if you want to play a character that's fucking drunk all the time, you can. Like, there's nothing stopping you, but you don't have to. That's all I'm saying. You get proficiencies when brewing supplies to make your own drinks, which is pretty cool. Your martial arts technique mixes combat training with the precision of a dancer and the antics of a jester. And you get proficiency in performance skill if you don't have it already. At 3rd level, you learn how to twist and turn quickly as part of your flurry of blows. Whenever you use flurry of blows, you gain the benefit of a disengage action. And your walking speed increases at 10 feet until the end of your next turn. More mobility stuff, that's nice. That makes it so you can kite your enemies. Unless you're playing against another monk, for example, and they have like a ton of mobility. But it's pretty good whenever you're fighting something like a dragon. And you can move around and be annoying. Very nice. Tipsy Sway. Starting at 6th level, you can move in sudden, swaying ways. You gain the following benefits. Sorry, I had to drink water. When you're prone, you can stand up by spending 5 feet of movement rather than half your speed. You can ready an attack roll by spending 1 key point as a reaction to cause the attack to hit another creature of your choice, other than the attacker. This is basically the Drunken Master by Jackie Chan. You get to be like a clown around the battlefield, but like at the same time be a very, very good fighter. It's definitely one of the most defense-oriented subclasses in Monk, but it's still very effective at combat. Let's see. Drunkard's Luck. Started with 11th level, you always seem to get a lucky bounce at the right moment. When you make an ability check, an attack roll, or a saving throw, you have disadvantage on the roll. You can spend 2 key points to cancel the disadvantage on that roll. And level 17. At 17th level, you gain the ability to make an overwhelming number of attacks against a group of enemies. When you use your flurry of blows, you can make up to 3 additional attacks with it, up to a total of 5 flurry of blows attacks, provided that each flurry of blows targets a different creature for this turn. So you get to turn your flurry of blows into an AoE attack and attack a bunch of people at once. And then you can stun them using Stunning Strike, which is very nice. It's a Jackie Chan type of martial artist, but it's comedy or competence. The kind of fighting that makes it look effortless. Yeah. That's the thing about the Drunken Master by Jackie Chan. Yes, he's a drunk, and he's like, his style is very like whimsical and loose and all that. But at the same time, oh, 1 second. Okay. But at the same time, he wins because it's so unpredictable, and like your opponent will get cocky and go in and do an unsafe move, and then you punish him for it, and like it's very nice. A lot of people don't like Way of the Drunken Master, but I like it just because of what it's referencing, because I really like Jackie Chan movies and martial art movies in general. But it's alright. It's fine. And it's really fun to roleplay someone who's drunk all the time. Just you don't have to play Monk or even Way of the Drunken Master in order to play that, but if you want to, you can. It's extremely fun. As long as you're not using like that as an excuse to like be an asshole to your fellow players. Like, yeah, I'm supposed to be rude because I'm drunk. No, man. You're need to play something that's fun for everybody. Let's see. You follow, let's see. Way of the Four Elements is the one that's originally for this character. It was my first subclass for Monk as well. You follow a monastic tradition that teaches you how to harness the elements. When you focus your ki, you can align yourself with the forces of creation that bend the four elements to your will, using them as an extension to your body, of your body. Some members of this tradition dedicate themselves to a single element, but others weave elements together. Many monks of this tradition tattoo their bodies with representation of their ki powers, commonly imagined as coiling dragons, but also as phoenixes, fish, plants, mountains, and cresting waves. Be a fun drunk, not an annoying one. Yeah. That's usually what people should do on whenever they make a good character, regardless of like if it's a one shot of a long-term campaign. If you're going to use your character's like certain traits or personality quirks just as an excuse to fuck with people, then it's not gonna be fun for you. It's not gonna be fun for anybody else in that table. You know, have some empathy for your fellow players. They're trying to have fun too. Let's see, discipline of the elements. When you choose the tradition at 3rd level, you learn magical disciplines that harness the power of the 4 elements. A discipline requires you to spend ki points each time you use it. You know the elemental attunement discipline and other elemental discipline of your choice, which are detailed in the elemental disciplines section below. You learn one additional elemental discipline of your choice at level 6, 11, and 17. Whenever you learn a new elemental discipline, you can also replace one elemental discipline that you already know with a different discipline. What does this mean? It means bark. But basically it means that you can choose different spells at certain levels that are elemental based. And every time you level up to levels to level 6, 11, or 17, you can change the elemental disciplines you already have, okay, the spells you already have, or a different one. So, let's say for example, at the beginning I have very low level spells at level 6, but then at 11 I replace those low level spells with higher level, while also getting a new one. And in level 17 you get another opportunity to replace all level spells for new ones. You can only do it one at a time though, which is kinda sucks. I wish you could replace all of them, but like it is what it is. You can replace the weakest one for a new one, as well as getting a brand new spell. Some elemental disciplines allow you to cast spells. See chapter 10 for general rules on spell casting. To cast one of these spells, you can use casting time, and other rules, but you don't need to provide material components for it. Once you reach 5th level in this class, you can spend additional ki points to increase the level of the elemental discipline spell that you cast, provided that the spell has enhanced effect at higher level, as Burning Hands does. The spell's level increases to 1 by each an additional ki point you spend. For example, if you are a 5th level monk and use a Sweeping Cinder Strike to cast Burning Hands, you can spend 3 ki points to cast it as a 2nd level spell. So it's a base cost plus 1. You can basically offcast your own spells. The maximum number of ki points you can spend to cast a spell this way, including the base ki point cost and any additional ki points that you spend to increase its level, is determined by your monk level, as shown in the spells and ki point table. So depending on the level you have the monk, you have the maximum amount of ki points you can spend. So like the book said previously, if you're level 5 to 8, you can always cast Burning Hands 1st level, then spend 1 ki point to cast it at 2nd level, but you cannot spend more to cast it as 3rd or 4th. Unless you're level 9 to 12. And you get a bunch of different spells. Elemental Attunement to briefly control elemental forces within 30 feet of you. You can cast Whole Person, Cone of Cold, a lot of really cool spells. This is basically advanced thaumaturgy, but for elements. Stone Skin, which is very good for defensive play. Thanks to the Fire Snake, is original one. It causes fire damage instead of bludgeoning damage. And then spend 1 additional key point in each attack to spend 1d10 fire damage extra. You can cast Thunder Wave, which is an AoE attack. Fist of Unbroken Air is a fist of air that you throw at your enemy, kind of like a Hadouken. And if it hits, the enemy gets thrown back a couple of feet. Essentially, Phoenix's Fireball, which is really fun. That's an actual Hadouken. You get to cast a freaking what is it called? A Spirit Bomb. The fun thing about this is that most of these are normal spells, but you can you have them on top of your normal martial arts. So you're basically a martial artist that's also a spellcaster. So it's a hybrid between a melee and a caster. You get all the benefits of a caster, plus all the mobility from a normal monk and the martial arts. So it's fun. They got Shatter, Gaseous Form, Fly, which is extremely useful with monk because our running speeds are huge, and even if you do Ride the Wind on the next turn, if you Ride the Wind is an action, and then you can cast, you can use Step of the Wind as a bonus action in order to dash, and then you can fly 80 feet. It's really good. Wall of Fire, Gust of Wind, Shape the Flowing River, which is a whole bunch. I'm not going through that. I'm trying to speed run through this. Water Whip, which is water damage. Burning Hands, as I said before, and Wave of Rolling Earth, which is Wall of Stone. Most of them are either AoE damage spells to enhance the damage of your attack and to your martial arts die with elemental damage, or utility spells to keep your opponent like in their toes, denying them, creating terrain to deny them like escape, or making yourself less vulnerable. It's a very versatile class. However, I would refrain from playing it on your first monk unless you take a look at the spell, like the elemental affinities, the elemental abilities list first. All these spells are very, very, very specific. They got very specific uses. Still pretty good. Got some jelly. Okay, we have 15 minutes to go through the other ones. It's kind of tricky since it is key a lot. Yeah, all the key points. The spells take from 3 to 7 key points, and you only get as much key points as you have levels. You have a lot of other uses on key top. Yeah, you basically get the choice to either you do all the cool monk shit when it comes to mobility and more damage and melee, or spend a whole bunch of key in a spell that is not as good as if the spell was being cast by something like a wizard, for example. So it's weird. A lot of people don't like it. I personally do. But I can definitely see why people don't. Okay, we have 3 left. Well, they can say. Also, the way they can trade relentlessly with their weapons to the point where their weapon becomes an extension of their body. Under a mastery of sword fighting, this tradition has expanded to include many different weapons. A Kensei sees a weapon in much the same way a calligrapher or painter regards a pen or brush. Whatever the weapon, the Kensei uses as a tool to express their beauty and precision of their martial arts. That such mastery makes a Kensei a peerless warrior. It's but a side effect of the intense devotion, practice, and study. So basically, if you like the idea of monks using a lot of monk weaponry, nunchucks, short swords, quarter staff, 3 pieces staffs, and all that good stuff. If you like that side of what a monk is, you should probably check out Way of the Kensei. When you choose this tradition at 3rd level, your special martial arts training leads you to master the use of certain weapons. This path also includes instruction in the deft strokes of calligraphy or painting. To gain the following benefits. You choose 2 types of weapons to be your Kensei weapons, 1 melee weapon and 1 ranged weapon. Each of these weapons can be simple or martial weapon that lacks the heavy or special property. The longbow is also a valid choice. You gain proficiency with these weapons if you don't already have it. Weapons of the chosen types are monk weapons for you. Many of these tradition features work only with your Kensei weapons. When you reach 6th, 11th, or 17th level in this class, you can choose another type of weapon, either melee or range, and be a Kensei weapon for you, following the criteria above. So you basically make it so you gain proficiency in weapons that are not simple weapons or short swords. And those weapons become your favorite weapon, and a whole bunch of the abilities here are based on those. So it's basically weapons, all about weapons. Also really funny since you can power up magic weapons to above +3. Oh shit, really? Let's see, Agile Parry. If you make an unarmed strike as part of the attack action of your turn and you're holding a Kensei weapon, you can use it to defend yourself if it is a melee weapon. You get a +2 to AC during the start of your next turn, while the weapon in your hand is in your hand and you are incapacitated. Kensei Monk is also really good in steampunk weapons campaigns that has simply guns. Yeah, because it's a ranged weapon, you can go full gun full on that. Be Max Payne, or the guy from Hard Boiled. Also, this music is going crazy. That's better. You can use the bonus action on your turn to make your range attacks or against a weapon more deadly. You get an extra 1d4 to the damage to the weapon's type. You retain its benefit until the end of the next turn. It's very versatile. You get to choose your, again, more RP. You get to choose your own weapons, and you get to choose, based on your character's personality and lore and background and all that, why those weapons are very important to them. You gain proficiency in your choice of calligrapher supplies or painter supplies. I'm saying this wrong. I know it. At 6th level, you send your key into your Kensei weapons, granting you the following benefits. Your attacks with your Kensei weapons count as magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance or immunity. No magical attacks on... Wait, that's it? Death Strike. When you hit a target with a Kensei weapon, you can spend 1 key point to cause the weapon to deal extra damage to the target equal to your martial arts die. You can use this feature only once on each of your turns. So you get to add a d4 extra to your actual d4. This is basically the normal feature that monks get for their fists, but for weapons. You get it around the time where your strikes also start counting as magical attacks. Yeah. Well, I guess that they had to include that in order to make it viable. Otherwise, like, if you fight a ghost, you lose all the benefits from the case and weapon because you're not using them. But yeah. Sharpen the blade. At 11th level, you get the ability to augment your weapons further with your key. As a bonus action, you can send up to 3 key points to create one casted weapon you touch. The bonus to attack and damage rolls when you attack with it. The bonus equals to the number of key points you spend. The bonus also lasts for 1 minute or until you get this feature again. This feature has no effect on a magic weapon that already has a bonus to attack and damage rolls. Also, you actually get better results if you don't use magical weapons in terms of damage. That's interesting. You get a free +3 weapon for a minute. And again, you can RP and you can flavor it to say like, you're using your key and like your weapon glows yellow and all that. A lot of really cool stuff. Or your character has a special kind of oil that you pour over your weapon. At 17th level, your mastery of weapons grants you extraordinary accuracy. If you miss with an attack roll when using a monk weapon on your turn, you can re-roll it. You can use this feature only once on each of your turns. Yeah, pretty good. What I can say is very... It's kind of bland. I don't know, like, I feel like it's just like Monk Plus, Monk 2.0, but like... A lot of the cool stuff is in other subclasses, I feel. Like where the shadow can teleport, where the actual subclass like Jojo arms, Susanoo. And what you can cast spells with way of the 4 elements. But this is just like you choose your weapons and that's it. And you get more benefits with those weapons. And like me personally, when it comes to my monks, I like this I pray for the sanctity of the open hand and the fist. You know, it's all about, like, when you're playing a monk, you're playing for the martial arts. You're not playing for the freaking weapons. You want a magical weapon? Can say it really depends on the variety of weapons you can pick and the magical items you can get. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you cannot add a +3 to a magical weapon. Because it already has, so like if you get a magical weapon that's +1, then if you use it regularly, you're actually hurting yourself. Like it's not that good. More mobile fighter, yeah. Excuse me, you're playing a monk for stunning strength and the mobile feat. I mean, yeah, but I don't know. I guess I'm... Maybe it's because I played Way of the 4 Elements first, and then Way of the Drunken Self, and then Way of the Astral Self. But I'm more used to like there being more monks than just the weapons. I feel like Kensei is just like adding ketchup to a very nice steak. I guess delicious. Well, like, there's so much more you can do with a steak, you know? You can add some seasoning, you can get some better sauce or something. By the way, Yorkshire lad, welcome in. I hope you're having a fantastic time. Okay. The way I choose my subclasses is less to do with what they can do and more to do with how cool they look while doing it. Thank you for the follow, Yorkshire Lad 94. Can I call you Lad? I feel like it's shorter. I should do more content like this on DnD. Like this is like let's make a monk, but I should do one like let's make a druid, let's make this, let's make that. Because like I'm learning a lot about different subclasses of monk that I usually don't play. It's very fun. Okay, Way of the Open Hand is the most vanilla one, but also one of the most effective ones. It plays with the idea of you and your monk focusing on perfecting their unarmed strikes. which is the essence of what makes monk. It's the martial arts, at least in flavor. So monks of the way of the open hand are the ultimate masters of martial arts combat. Whether armed or unarmed, they learn techniques to push and trip their opponents, manipulate ki to heal damage to their bodies, and practice advanced meditation that can protect them from harm. To be honest, my newest character is a red dragonborn forge cleric. How it runs the fire resistance, you get a 6th level. Don't care though, because fire burns hot. Yeah. Yeah, but it's cool. Dragonborns are cool though. It's worth playing a Dragonborn just because you get to play a freaking Dragonborn, you know? Forge Cleric can be a lot of fun to play. When you can like open a forge and use your forge. Use your forge like quirks and abilities. Ain't that right? Let's see. Starting when you choose this tradition at 3rd level, you can manipulate your enemy's ki when you harness your own. Whenever you hit a character with one of the attacks granted by your flurry of blows, you can impose one of the following effects on that target. Downtime is key, yeah. You really got a downtime, you get to prepare a lot of stuff. I haven't played that much Cleric. Maybe that should be the next class I do. God, I was so salty. It was hilarious. We weren't at one place for more than a week, so you couldn't do anything with a forge. You were like, is there a forge in here? And like, yeah, it took me to level 15 to get my forge, and then the campaign ended. Yeah, freaking crazy. Like, we were in a city that had a forge, a very workable forge, and you were about to get like a disciple on it, and then we got stuck in the Feywild. It was fucking insane, man. Traveling forges are a thing, yeah, but it's not the same. It's not the same, you know. It's like, yeah, you can play in your 3DS. But what if I want to play on my Nintendo Wii? You know what I'm saying? You got stuck on the Feywild for 200 years. Yeah, that's a funny story. For people on the stream might be hearing this. There was this one time where our campaign, our party, captured this dark elf, and the dark elf was very ominous and didn't want to tell us shit. So we interrogated him, and in the meantime, our Tabaxi fighter read what the tattoos on the dark elf's back said. The tattoos opened a portal to the Feywild, and we got sucked in. Except for Trisfin. Trisfin here in the chat wasn't playing on that session. He was busy. So like for the next session we get together, and like we tell Trisfin, okay, what's going on now, he says. And like we tell him, yeah, we're in the Feywild. Yeah, we somehow got stuck in the one session. Like, Tristan doesn't usually miss sessions. Like, he's very good at it. At staying, like, consistent in that regard. The one fucking session he misses, we're stuck in the Feywild. Then the DM rolls to see how time flows in the Feywild, depending, like, in regards with the material plane. And it made it so that for 1 week, they spent in a Feywild, like a year passed on the material plane. And we didn't fucking know that, right? Up until the point where we gone back. They didn't have their common sense here to that kind of this. It's very hard to make a business with a forge and like make use of all of your forge abilities when there's no forge in the Feywild. And by the point where we came back, 200 years had passed. So Tristan had to like get caught up with all the different practices that had evolved in 200 fucking years. It was insane. It was like it was such a fun session, but like it was insane. They got wild. I was also absolutely crying in the campaign. I think I only failed a divine intervention once in that campaign. Yeah, you saved a city with divine intervention. Okay, next time I do D&D character creation, I'm going to do it on cleric. Insane, absolutely insane. Yeah, I could have you here in the stream, by the way, Trisvin, for that. But anyways, you can manipulate your enemy's key when you harness your own. Whenever you hit a creature with one of the attacks granted by your flurry of blows, you can impose one of the following effects. You must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or be knocked prone. A strength saving throw. If it fails, you can push 15 feet away from you. Or it cannot take reactions until the end of your next turn. A whole lot of CC. Oh yeah, by the way, this music was composed by Yoko Shimomura, the GOAT. Oh, hold on. I need to read the chat, but I can't. Unless I got a bunch of Titan in the Feywild, but we kind of got consistently chased around. Yeah. The guy that was being corrupted by the Fey magic due to the god he was following, basically losing a war. Yeah, shit went crazy on that campaign. That was awesome. Let's see. At 6th level, you gain the ability to heal yourself as an action. If you can regain hit points equal to 3 times your monk level. That's really good, holy cow. You must finish a long rest before you can use this feature again. You get second wind from 14, basically. After Thanksgiving, my character was one of the 3 remaining believers of the god. Yeah, it was insane. My character's monastery became part of the empire, part of the evil empire. So he was one of the last members of the monastery that wasn't infected by the evil empire's ideology. So he had to burn his sigil and like become an independent monk. On the right side, instant head priest status, yeah. There you go. You get the effect of the sanctuary spell. That lasts until the start of your next long rest. The spell can end early as normal. The saving throw DC for the spell equals like 8 plus wisdom plus proficiency. And Quivering Palm. You get the ability to set up lethal vibrations in someone's body. When you hit a creature with an unarmed strike, you can spend 3 key points to start these unpredictable vibrations, which last for a number of days equal to your monk level. The vibrations are harmless unless you use your action to end them. To do so, you and your character must be in the same plane of existence. When you use your action, the creature must make a Constitution saving throw. If it fails, it is reduced to 0 hit points. If it succeeds, it takes 10d10 necrotic damage. You can only have 1 creature on the effect of this feature at a time. You can choose to end the vibrations harmlessly without using an action. But then the campaign ended. It was a wild ride. It was, but it was so much fun. A lot of shit happened. A lot of it. And like, when the campaign ended, it left us with the opportunity to build upon our own characters in a different way. So like, Patch, what he did is made it into art. What I did is make it into my PNG tuber, and now I'm remaking it on D&D. I think the most I was able to move was I half played for everybody in the party using medium armor. I didn't use it though, I'm a monk. Okay, so Way of the Open Hand, it's like Way of the Kensei in the sense that it enhances a part of the monk, in this case the unarmed attacks. However, the way it does this is way better than the Way of the Kensei. The Way of the Kensei usually just gives you more damage. But in Way of the Open Hand, you get CC, you get Quivering Palm, you get a lot of really cool stuff. Really good. It's as vanilla as vanilla. There you go. It's as vanilla as you can get for a monk, but it's so good at it that it doesn't matter. And last but not least, did they add a new one? Hold on. There's this one for dragons that they added for the new dragon book. Well, I don't think so. Okay, either they didn't, it's not here in the compendium, or they didn't put it in the thing. Okay, so we have the last one, Way of the Sun Soul. That is definitely one of those classes that benefits from the most from sticking with one class. Yeah, I feel you. I never played one, but they look fun. They're very versatile based on their subclass too. Let's see. Monks of the Way of the Sun Soul learn to channel their life energy into searing balls of light. They teach that meditation can unlock the ability to unleash indomitable light shed by the soul of every living creature. Radiant Soul Bolt. Starting when you choose this tradition at 3rd level, you can hurl searing balls of magical radiance. Basically key blasts. Might the heretics. You get a new attack option that you can use with the attack action. This special attack is a ranged spell attack with a range of 30 feet. You are proficient with it and you add your dexterity modifier to its attack and damage rolls. Its damage is radiant, and it's a damage die of d4. This die changes as you gain more monk levels. Shown is the martial arts column on the monk table, which is what we saw before. So you basically get key blasts in DBC. And you get to use your martial arts die as a ranged weapon. When you take the attack action on your turn and use the special attack as part of it, you can spend 1 key point to make the special attack twice as a bonus action. So it's Flurry of Blows. When you gain an extra attack feature, this special attack can be used for any of the attacks you make as part of the attack action. Clearing Arc Strike. At 6th level, you gain the ability to channel ki into searing waves of energy. Immediately after you take the attack action of your turn, you can spend 2 key points to cast the Burning Hand spell as a bonus action? Okay. You can spend additional key points to cast Burning Hands as a higher level spell. Each additional key point you spend increases the spell level by 1. The maximum level key points 2 plus additional points that you can spend on the spell equals to half your monk level. Also, this is better. This is just like 4 elements, but a little bit better. So you get to do a key blast in the Burning Hands. That's good. Searing Sunburst. At 11th level, you get the ability to create an orb of light. This is DVC. This is just DVC. This is a spirit bomb, as the people in America know it. Like, I know it as a Genkidama. This is just a spirit bomb. Like, it's an orb of light that erupts into a devastating explosion. As an action, you magically clear an orb and hurl it at a point to choose within 150 feet. Holy cow. While it erupts into a sphere of radiant light for brief but deadly, it's instant. Each creature in the 20-foot radius sphere must succeed a Constitution saving throw or take 2d6 radiant damage. A creature doesn't need to make the save if the creature is behind total cover that is opaque. Okay. You can increase the sphere's damage by spending key points. Each point you spend to a maximum of 3 increases the damage by 2d6. Okay, so it's 2d6 for no key points. What? It's just a range attack. It's oh my god. This is the first time I've seen this. Like, you get a range attack that's an AoE at 11th level. That's a 2d6. Oh, the damage is not that good, but like for no key points? And you get to spend more key points on a maximum of 3 for an extra 2d6. Holy cow, this is good. It's a stronger AoE range attack that you can pop key for more damage. You can just make Goku. That's awesome. Extra 2d6 per point, yeah. But like, you can just do it. It's an action. You just do it. You don't have, like, for in Way of the Four Elements, if you need to do an AoE attack, you need to spend key points for it. And a whole bunch too. You basically get Fireball at full power. That's pretty sick. It is insane. At 17th level, you become red in a luminous. What is the music? Comes on late game though, yeah. For Elemental Mount, you also get it on level 11. True. I still find it crazy that you don't need to spend any key points in order to use this. It's insane. Let's see. Sun Shield. At 17th level, you become red that in a luminous magical aura. You shed light, bright light in a 30-foot radius and dim light for an additional 30 feet. You can extinguish or restore the light as a bonus action. If a creature hits you with a melee attack while this light shines, you can use your reaction to deal radiant damage to the creature. The radiant damage equals to 5 plus the wisdom modifier. Okay. Console definitely shines, pun intended, in campaigns that feature a lot of undead. Yeah, this is all radiant damage, true. It's pretty good. I think this is the strongest subclass for monk. This and like open hand and this and Way of the Astral Self, I think are the best ones. Now, I know there's a new subclass for the new book. Let's see. Wait, is it here in the compendium though? Okay. Strahd, Quake Energy Splits. Who would win? Strahd, like a giant, like an actual, like, powerful ass vampire, or fucking Goku? Way of the Dragon Dragon, yes. Drunken Master, 4 elements, can't say open hand, sun, soul. No, it's not here. Okay, Way of the Rising Dragon. Let's see. Way of the Ascendant Dragon. Oh, the music went evil. The Dragon of Dojima. PTU 10. I'm gonna use this. Because I ain't about to buy the book. But this is like basic like a description of it. This is evil because we're pirating. Ooh. Let's see. The fundamental teaching of this tradition holds that by emulating dragons, a monk becomes a more integrated part of the world and its magic. By altering their spirit to resonate with a draconic might, monks who follow this tradition augment their prowess in battle, bolster their allies, and can even soar through the air with draconic wings? But all these powers in service of a greater goal, achieving a spiritual unity with the essence of the material plane. Okay. Sana 110, welcome in. Hope you're having a fantastic time. Just say, Way of the Mercy and Way of the Long Death is the strongest subclasses for monks in terms of math and unity. Utility. Way of the Sun Soul is considered considered to be the weakest. Really? Well, it could be that I'm Latino, so I have a certain affinity for the VC, so I'm a little bit biased. Maybe. Also, Way of the Way of the Long Death. We kind of forgot about that. It's not here either. We need to check that out. Crispin, are you all in call, by the way? Oh, Thatch is in call. Wait, hold on a second. This is in quite DnD. We're doing a one-shot versus the trade. Okay. I'm going to have to cut this short real quick since we got a bit still, really. Oh, time zones. Yeah, time zones. We have in like 40 minutes. Okay, good. I can wrap this up then. Why are you building on Roll20 and not using like something like DnD Beyond? Because DnD Beyond requires you to have the different books for D&D, and I don't have them. Well, my friend Water does. He actually bought all the D&D, well, most of the D&D books on Roll20 and made a campaign and named me the DM in order for me to use all the books that he has because he has a pro account. So it's not the best way to make a character in D&D, but it's the one that's more convenient for me right now. If I had the $400+ to get a D&D subscription and D&D Beyond subscription plus the books, I would, but I can't. It's just not within the acceptable price range for me. It's way too overpriced. But yeah, Draconic Disciple. At 3rd level, you can channel draconic power to magnify your presence and imbue your unarmed strikes with the essence of a dragon's breath. You gain the following benefits. But yeah, the D&D books are expensive as shit. I'm not buying them. Which is why I'm leeching over my friend Water, because he bought them. Draconic presence. If you fail a charisma, intimidation, or charisma persuasion check, you can use your reaction to reroll the check as you tap into the mighty presence of dragons. Once this feature turns a failure into a success, you cannot use it again until you finish a long rest. Okay? When you damage a target with an unarmed strike, you can change the damage type to acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison. You learn to speak, read, and write Draconic. Hold on. We're getting into like the most evil territory of the Live a Live soundtrack right now. So you get a bunch of draconic stuff. Breath of the Dragon. At 3rd level, you channel destructive waves of energy, like those created by the dragons you emulate. When you take an attack action on your turn, you can replace one of the attacks with an exhalation of draconic energy in either a 20-foot cone or a 30-foot line that is 5 feet wide. Your choice. Uses a damage type: acid, cold, light, acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison. Each creature in that area must make a dexterity saving throw against your key save DC, taking damage to the chosen type equal to 2 rolls of your martial arts die on a failed save. So 2d4 in level 1. or half as much damage in the successful one. You get Breath Weapon. There's something funny about Ascending Dragon and Drake Warden in 2 new Dragon subclasses. As you level up, they get Breath Weapons stronger than the Dragonborns. Even though they just adopted, they don't have like Dragon Blood in them. Well, Monk doesn't. But Monk is all about way of the Rising, the Ascendant Dragon is a way about adopting dragons, and you get to get a breath weapon better than someone that has actual like draconic blood. That's insane. Plus, you get to choose. You get to choose the damage type on your breath weapon. That's really good. That's Dragon's Breath. The spell Dragon's Breath. Let's see, Wings Unfurled. At 6th level, when you use the Step of the Wind, you can unfurl special draconic wings from the back that vanish at the end of your turn. While the wings exist, you have a flying speed equal to your. You can fucking fly. This is something that only the Way of the Four Elements could do beforehand. You can fly while you dash. So if you had 40 speed, you get to fly 80. It either takes longer to evolve or it'll actually get stronger. Yeah. Monk is really good at like copying stuff from like different classes and getting them like a little bit worse. But on top of those abilities, you get like the normal monk stuff. You get martial arts, you get like mobility, you get a lot of good stuff like that. Monk is really good at that. Aspect of the Worm. At 11th level, the power of your draconic spear now irradiates from you, warding your allies and inspiring fear on your enemies. As a bonus action, you get to create an aura of draconic power that irradiates 10 feet from you for 1 minute. For the duration, you gain one of the following effects for your choice. Rifle Presence or Resistance. Use a damage type when you activate this aura. You and your allies within that aura have resistance to that. Oh, this is good. Resistance to that damage. Or the target must succeed at wisdom saving throw your keep save DC or become frightening of you for 1 minute. You still get martial arts and a little defensive stuff like and stunning strikes. And a healthy dose of mobility. Yeah. I love Monk. I love Monk so much. And this is making me love Monk a lot more. Ascendant Aspect. At 70th level, your draconic spirit reaches its peak. You gain the following benefits. Augment Breath. When you use your breath of the dragon, you can spend 1 key point to unmake its shape and power. The exhalation of draconic energy becomes either a 60-foot cone or a 90-foot line that is 5 feet wide to your choice, and each creature of that area may damage equals to 4 rolls of your martial arts die. A 90-foot line? Wait, hold on. When you take the action, is to replace one of the attacks. Or a 90-foot line. Holy cow. Oh, this is really good because you can bonus action dash as a bonus action. And you get to fly. Or at that level, let's say 80 feet. Then attack once, apply a stunning strike. If it hit it, you get 2 attacks because you get an extra attack, right? You attack once for your stunning strike. If it hits, it's stunned. It has disadvantage against the saving throw. And then you shoot for a 90-foot line. That is huge. Look at this. Well, it depends. This is not up to scale, obviously, but like... Fucking huge. It's bigger than my screen. Like, it's bigger than this. It's like almost this plus 10 more. Let's see. It's like this. So anybody who's like here or here, It's like 5 foot, 5 feet. Ugh. It's really freaking good. And you get to do this with the mobility of a monk, while also being able to fly. So like, if you're here, for example, you can move to anywhere there and position yourself perfectly pretty much every time. Do a single attack and then then use breath weapon. For I think it's 40-10 at this level, the martial arts die. On a huge line. It's really good. Blindside. You can blindside out of 10 feet. Within that range, you can effectively see anything that isn't behind total cover, even if you're blinded or in darkness. Moreover, you can see an invisible creature within that range, unless the creature successfully hides from you. Explosive Fury. When you activate your aspect of the worm, Draconic Fury explodes within you. You can choose any number of creatures you can see in your aura. Each of those creatures must succeed at a dexterity saving throw against your key save DC. Take 3d10 acid, cold, light, fire, lightning, or poison damage. Okay, Way of the Ascendant Dragon is really freaking good. I like it. I like it a whole lot. Okay, what was it, the other one? Way of the Long Death? You can literally blow up and then like you do not know nobody. What was it? Way of the Long Death? Let's see. Monks in the Way of the Long Death are obsessed with the meaning of and the mechanics of dying. They capture creatures and prepare elaborate experiments to capture, record, and understand the moments of their demise. They then use this knowledge to guide their understanding of martial arts, yielding a deadly fighting style. Holy cow. Oh, this is from Sword Coast. For some reason, it's not one of the options here. Oh. Let's see. Touch of Death. This is very simple. Starting when you choose this iteration at 3rd level, you study of death. Yo, what's up, Touch? How you doing, man? It's Friday. Yeah, I know. Friday. Today we have DnD in half an hour, right? They're unapologetically edgy. Yeah. That here is on the chat is my DM and fellow player as well. Let's see. Touch of Death. Starting when you choose this rotation at 3rd level, your study of death allows you to extract vitality from another creature as it nears its demise. When you reduce a creature within 5 feet of you to up to 6 to 0 hit points, you gain temporary hit points equal to your wisdom modifier or your monk level, plus your monk level. Oh. Hour of Reaping. This is Reaper. Hour of Reaping. At 6th level, you get the ability to unsettle or terrify those around you as an action, for your soul has been touched by the shadow of death. Hold on, I need to do something that's only funny to me. Hold on 1 second. Also, why is Tristan showing up? Oh wait, it's the freaking Discord thing. Hold on. I'll join you guys in a minute. Let me just wrap this up real quick. Actually, enough of the jokes. Let's see. Mystery of Death. No, it was this one. You get the ability to unsettle. Yeah. Your soul has been touched by the shadow. That's so fucking edgy. When you take this action, each creature within 30 feet of you that can see you must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be frightened of you until the end of your next turn. Mastery of Death. Beginning at the 11th level, you use your familiarity with death to escape its grasp. When you are reduced to 0 hit points, you can spend 1 key point to have 1 key point instead. Also, you can just not die. For 11 times in a row. Touch of the Long Death. Starting at 17th level, your touch can channel the energy death into a creature. As an action, you touch 1 creature within 5 feet of you and you spend 1 to take key points. 10. The target must make a constitution saving throw and it takes 2d10 necrotic damage per key point spent on a failed save. Okay. So you can spend up to 10. You can just kill someone straight up. This is boring. This is just Reaper. This, like, I bet it's pretty good in terms of math, but like you had to work your ass off to make it interesting. It's just Reaper. Like, this is just Reaper. Your soul is touched by the shadow of death. That's what is that one character that says that Inazuma characters in Genshin Impact are cringy? But you can be funny and deal 20d10 necrotic damage. That's true, but like that's assuming you have a character on 20th level, first of all, which is like not that common. What do you mean it's fucking boring, Thatch? It's Reaper from Overwatch. Evanescence ass looking subclass. It's just like I feel like a monster, you know? Every state that I make is another mistake to you, type of deal. Collei. Okay, it's like Collei. You know how Collei says like other people in Inazuma casually say these things all the time. It's 1d10 per point. Yes, it's 1d10 per point. Per key point. 2d10 per point. So in order to have... Okay, you... Oh yeah, I'm fucking stupid, you're right. But still, like 17th level is pretty high. How do people in Inazuma say these things all the time? Like, imagine saying, yeah, you've been touched by the shadow. I don't know. This is entirely subjective, by the way. If anybody here listening to this is playing or wants to play a character that is of the Way of the Long Death, you can. I'm not saying you can. You shouldn't. I'm not saying you're cringe. Nothing like that. I'm not about that shit. I'm just saying that it's, for me, this is fucking Reaper. Overwatch has ruined you. I can agree with that with you, man. The main character frees on the roster. Ah, yeah, that's true. It's like Kenshiro. You could argue that Kenshiro is also way of the open hand. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is the less interesting one. Like, you just get more damage, and like a fear. I don't know. You punch them and then they blow up. Yeah. Didn't do you. Okay, so now that we've gone through the Viable Shinderu, yeah. Now that we've gone through all the subclasses in DnD or Monk, the current ones at least, they might add more in the future. I'm going to choose one for my boy. Now, I am torn here between going for Way of the Astral Self or going for Way of the Four Elements like he was originally. I think I'm going to go for Way of the Astral Self. Hold on. What? Sorry about that. I think I'm gonna go for Way of the Astral Self and exchange the Dexterity for Wisdom. I feel like that's a good move. All of the subclasses, bless you. Thank you, Thatch. Oh yeah, by the way, Thatch is my man Thatch here. My main Thatch here is a streamer and artist. So everyone who's listening to this, please go follow my man. I'm gonna give him a shout out here on Twitch. There you go. Yeah, go follow Thatch. He's a great friend. I love him. And you should follow him. He made a brand new Twitch account and he is planning to stream every once in a while. So if you could go and join your support, I would really appreciate it. But yeah. Every single one of the subclasses here, and even the ones that I personally didn't like Way of the Long Death, are completely viable for anybody who wants to make a monk, and they are all special on their own very special way. And a ton of them can give you various like degrees of opportunity for player expression, so you can make your character more of your own. Which is the beauty of D&D, making characters that you feel like you like how they are. That's the essence of making a good character in D&D. It's not really making a character that can one-shot the boss in a single shot. Why did I say it that way? And it's about making a character that you like because you made it and you think it's cool. Or at least that's the way I do it, personally. So, I am going to choose Way of the Astral Self. And I'm going to think about what flavor do I want to give my boy for the Way of the Astral Self arms. This is what I get at level 5. Probably be something related to his master, the Tabaxi that used to be drunk all the time. But how do we win? You don't. D&D is not about winning. D&D is about having fun. Making a good story with your characters and your friends. Okay, on 5th level you get Infernal Legacy for the Darkness build and the Hellish Rebuke spell like we saw beforehand. And all this really cool stuff. You get your dedicated weapon. For Way of the Astral Self. Oh yeah, your astral arms count as a monk weapon, so you don't really need a weapon on top of your monk weapon. Either me or family making something more grounded. Yeah, you make the goofy shit, and then you let your more sensible players and friends that you're playing with make a character that's actually meta, and let them carry you. That's how I do it. But no, like you win by making a character that's not like a strength wizard, you know? If you follow the quick build and you make a character based on that, you should be alright. What the fuck is this music? Okay. Live a Live's got a very interesting soundtrack. Holy cow. I need to play Live a Live. I need to play a lot of things. Bingus. I have been somebody power of Bingus. Say water. How you doing, man? We're going through the process of remaking 7 again. Patient defense and all that good stuff. Deflect missile, Q for attacks, Way of the Astral Self, all the good stuff that we saw is being given to us since we leveled up to level 5, from level 1 to level 5. It is usually way more gradual in the order that you get these things. For example, Ki, you get at level 2, martial arts you get at level 1. Learn strength to get a level 5. Yes. All that good stuff. Okay, so we click next. We get a couple ability score increases here. I'm going to string increase dexterity by 2. So a total of 19. But we're going to be swapping that for wisdom. And we apply the changes. And by the way, King of Pudding here on the chat, I'm in water. Is the one that made this whole stream possible by giving me the access to all the D&D books on Roll20. If it weren't for his sacrifice, I wouldn't have been able to remake my boy here on stream. So thanks, Water. Appreciate it. Yay! Okay, we have made our standard Tiefling. There's one more thing that I need to do though. I'm going to swap the 19 on Dexterity for the 15 on Wisdom. Don't do this without your DM's permission, by the way. The only reason I'm doing this is because I didn't know what subclass I would choose, so I gave everything to Dex instead of Wiz. Although, a ton of the abilities that Way of the Astral Self uses your Wisdom, but you can technically use the damage from Dex. I feel like that would be more interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it this way, actually. It's more... If you're in an actual campaign, your DM would most likely not let you swap your ability scores like this, so I'm gonna keep it this way. Even if it's less optimal. What is this? Not a sacrifice, I like to have you sexy. Wow, okay. Okay, Water. I look at the message. Yeah, I looked at the message. Well, still, thank you. Well, this is going to be the official stat block for my boy for the next couple of time frame. So, I would like, now that we're done with this, Water, please don't delete my cat sheet. I don't want to make it again. Oh boy. Okay, now that we're done here with Roll20 then, I'm going to close this. And I'm not going to, yeah, I know you're not going to, I'm just messing. I'm just messing with you. So what did we learn today? Today we learned 1. Monks are fucking awesome. But we knew that already. Number 2. Tieflings got very interesting lore. And the number of features that you get are Bingest. We learned Bingest. That's 2. Fuck, I lost my train of thought now. Goddamn. Oh yeah, Tieflings got very interesting lore too. And a lot of the features that the Tieflings got are very, very fucking cool. Like especially the eyes. The Tiefling experience, like the tail, you can forgo the tail. Not to play monk. Yeah. Not to play monk. Okay, Tris. Okay, Thatch. Okay, man, sure. We learned the difference between all these different subclasses of monk and how they have different amounts of like flavor and whatnot. They have the let me switch to like yeah boy. Let me switch to this actually. This is way better. And let's put some eroge music. Alright. Different subclasses of monk have different specialities, different strengths and weaknesses, as well as different amounts of flavor that you can put in your character. We also learned that Way of the Long Dead is very edgy. Excuse me, what? Yeah. Yeah. I got taste in music. So, whenever you want to make a monk character, you can always take a look at the different subclasses. You don't have to do it when you're making a character at level 1, but if you're making a character at level 3, take a good look at every single subclass and make the monk that you want. Monk is really good at giving you options for versatility. Maybe not as much as something like fighter, but it's still really good at that. Eroge, yes. So you're distracting me. I lost my train of thought again. So yeah, the main lesson here is play monk. Monk is very fun. On my Christian PNG tuber stream, yeah, we're going on say so now. Like my character is showing chest and belly, like it's so on say so. But anyways, thank you so much for everybody who listened to this. I'm sorry I couldn't play Portionomics today because I kind of got carried out. I just love monks so much. I love DnD so much. And this was like one of the most fun streams I've done. Yeah, wait. One of the most fun streams I've done in a very long time. So I'm probably going to keep doing stuff like this now that I still have access to all the different books on Roll20. So next time I do this thing, too much skin. Thatch, mark my freaking words. If I get a live 2D model, I'm going to have a armpit raise live 2D toggle just for you, man. Just for you, for drawing reference, as you say. Not enough skin. Yep. Oh, hold on. Let me show. There you go. Okay. Next time I do this thing and building a new character, I'm probably going to do it on either Ranger to see if Ranger is as quote-unquote bad as people say it is, or Cleric. That's gonna be fun because I don't usually play Spellcaster, so I'm going to have to do some homework before the stream so I don't look like a complete dumbass. So yeah. The audacity. But anyways, thanks to Water, Thatch, Interesting for coming in. I'm sorry I'm late for D&D again. Am I late? I don't know. But like, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I fucking love you guys. Thanks for much ankle. Thanks. I gotta thank a couple of people new people who came around today. Doc, thank you for coming in. I hope you have a fun, good time listening to my ramblings. Lad as well. Thank you for being here. Oh, bueno, pues Susano, ¿cómo está, hermano? Estamos terminando el stream acá, venimos a saludar. Gracias por saludar, igual. Gracias por pasarte. Susano here is from Access's channel. Thank you for being here. Susano, gracias por pasarte acá. Lad, Yorkshire Lad, thank you. Thank you for coming in. I hope you had a good time. I don't usually do D&D stuff on my channel. I do mostly like gaming, but it was fun. Who else? Sana? Okay, I'm gonna call you San. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you had a fantastic time as well. And Thatch. And yeah, I already said that. Alright, how many people do I have here? Where's my goddamn phone? Bueno, el Access sí es cuando DVD, bueno, puta que ya, que este tiempo, ojalá esté pasando bien. Porque puta que la sufre el weón. Puta que sufre el Access. We have no, we don't have poor people here. Someone here bought all the fucking D&D books, like, ain't. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. I need to grab dinner too. Okay, there's 3 people here who are my friends. We're gonna play D&D. Que casi también exacto. Susano. Cuídate ya. And everybody else too, take care of yourselves. You're awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and play D&D. I'm gonna close the stream here. Check out the suggestion box down below or in the chat if you're in the mobile version, if you want to suggest any type of content or what the stream can improve on regarding the technical aspect or the content. Next stream we're going to be playing Potionomics since I wanted to play it today, but I couldn't because monks. I love monks so much that I dedicated a whole stream to monk lore and the monk subclasses. So yeah, it was pretty fucking fun and I loved it. Lechonk. Thank you, Water. Isn't this music like fucking fire? And it's for a freaking hentai game. It's insane. Crazy. Okay, hide the feet. Hope everyone has a fantastic rest of day, night, morning, afternoon, whatever your time zone is. I'm gonna go play DnD. Take care of yourselves again. Hype as fuck, yeah. Bye. See ya.